Alright, what's up? Hey all people, can you hear me? So we're just testing the mic and everything else and seeing how our stuff is working. Just took my vitamin C, so I'm good and super happy. And how are y'all doing? How's your weekend, people? Just fixing things up. Audio is good, alright. Alright. So I'm sort of just like tuning in, as always, out of the blue and all, so let's see what happens. Zach asked regarding emails. Yeah, if you didn't get, I think I got your links with audios and stuff. I haven't checked it yet, but if you haven't gotten mine, I might ask Rich to forward it to you. So I'll send it to him. If he gets it, then he's gonna send it to you. What kind of vitamin C? I would have to bring it here. Yeah, just like for me it's like more like little thing that you just keep in your mouth and like under your tongue and stuff. Okay, so we have a lot of people talking it up. That's actually amazing that so fast and so many people are here. Thank you all for tuning in. Alright, so let's get started. John with question number 1. When you had a negative being attack you, have you ever given a being the ability to feel emotions, send them love, give them truth about your connection to source and past lives? Yeah, it happens quite often. Like a lot of these times when I'm doing sessions, when I'm connecting with other beings, entities, doesn't matter who they are. Usually they're not that aware of what's going on, so when I'm dealing with them, I do like sort of like give them a different look at what's going on, and basically, you know, like sharing love and sharing like these emotions so that they would be able to feel it, to understand how these things are. They totally get it. Like if, for example, I make sure like when I'm talking with a person, or for example like working on them, and they have entity clusters, so I will create a different realm and pretty much just like take all of these entities from a person and put them in a new realm where they're going to be free from the control, so there is no hierarchy above them. They can finally be free from that control, and finally, after they have no more fear, no more limits, no more commands and orders of what to do, I give them like, hey, you can finally understand what's love about, what's this about. And so like from little entities, they finally get the chance to wake up, to understand more things, to feel more things, and to finally become like from the entity to become a normal beings like we are right now, to sort of basically how they devolved into the entities, they finally start evolving back into who they were. So it's like kind of like a process, but it's definitely like a place for a rehab where they can finally like get back for what they used to be, and definitely as they are on the process, they're able to recall their past lives to get the bigger understanding of what's going on and actually get back their abilities to find like, hey, I'm back into the consciousness, unlimited, infinite, and I can go my own way without being messed with. So yeah, I do it like quite a lot these days. It's like one of the main focuses. Like just today with Rich, I was talking about how interesting it is for me to talk with other ETs out there. You know, like just a lot of people when they get out of body and stuff, they see various ETs like reptilians, nerds, and some of them, you know, might look scared. Some of them might act like arrogant and like look kind of like different, but when I see them, they're very respectful, and just to get their point of view, like why are they messing with people, what's their goal, why are they doing this and stuff, to get all of these like views of what they are and why they're doing this thing, for me it's like really interesting to understand this stuff. And usually, for example, some reptilian groups, I'm asking like, okay, so why are you actually attacking Earth, why are you messing with people? And basically it's kind of like, instead of communicating and telling it with words, I get this flash of a movie of a backstory of what happened. And a long time ago, like a few centuries ago, humans are the ones attacking reptilians, taking over the realms, and like basically Earth is going to be ours, and like basically they take over planet after planet, and even in the Orion. And these guys, living their own life, get attacked by humans, suppressed by humans, and then a few generations afterwards, they're like, okay, we have to fight back, we have to get our land back. So it's actually humans taking over their place, suppressing them, and now they're like, wake up and have to fight back, and now they're doing this to us. So like, there's all kinds of scenarios out there where you just like can get a whole different look at the beings out there and understand their story, their like, why are they doing certain things, and this is really amazing for me. So it's one of my interests. Like, if I get a session and I can talk to some ETs out there, I'm always like interested to listen to their backstory and see what is up. So there's that. Yeah. Okay, so we have a lot of people here. Everybody in Minecraft is asking if he could get a session with me. You totally can, buddy. The thing is, I have... How many people? Let's see. I have about 65 people on the list, and some of them have bought over 520 sessions, so let's say I still have 100 sessions to give. After that, like, I keep the list of new ones who come up, like, who maybe cannot pay. So right now, since you're in need of a session, you know, you're on the list, but like, I have to give priority to those that have been waiting for it for quite a while. So, you know, there's a waiting line. At the same time, you're in America, cool. One thing you can do, Minecraft, one thing you can do, send me an email, not just that you want a session, I need your story, full story of like, when it started, what kind of problems you have, what are you going through, the feeding state issues, do you see entities, do you have any kind of sensations, night terrors, anything you can give me, the more information the better, but while you're waiting, please send me an email with the more like info, because then I will be able to understand the stuff. And even some days, like when I'm taking a break, I go through some emails, and while people give me access, I just like look at sentences and I get instant flashes, so I can literally give you a session on the go on my free time if you give me plenty of info. So like, please write me an email, and not just like I have blogs regarding getting out of body, but really, when did it start, what kind of issues you're going through, what are you doing regarding getting out of body or other things. Like, I think you're the one that wants to get out of body, but give me more details and I'll be able to help you out. And speaking of which, I've been thinking, like, in my streams, I'm talking a lot to you people and just giving it here, like, Q&A thing. I was wondering if some of you would be interested to showing up live. For example, we connect on Zoom or Skype, probably Zoom, better. And let's say on stream, if you want to, you can be on camera. You don't have to actually show your face, whichever way you want. But for those that want, for those that maybe have visuals and stuff, we could do live sessions of soul contract revocation. So for example, if you have some issues, I could get you live with me and basically guide you through the whole process, have like help you to find the agreements and do the whole process with you, guide you through it. And you know, something like that, like something maybe some sessions, maybe some other things. I just think about and getting you involved more. It's not just like asking me questions, but having you share your own thoughts, like maybe, you know, like doing this kind of Q&A thing, but actually getting someone on Discord, for example, a few minutes, just like, hey, how did COVID change your life? Do you have any changes and stuff? Like, what kind of stuff you have noticed and stuff? So yeah, that would be a thing. Would a cell phone work? If you could call me, I can give him my cell phone and all. The only downside is I'm in Lithuania. For example, if I was to give a call from Lithuania to America, 1 minute cost me $1. Like, it's really a lot. So you have to get a plan or something to call me or something, or I don't know, just find different ways, like WhatsApp, some other like ways. But you know, Zoom, Discord, Skype, other platforms, Facebook, all these things. I'm just like thinking about getting you involved, maybe giving you sessions live if you're up for it, maybe just having some questions regarding some topics, and if you have some experiences, you could show up and just say what you've been through, because we have a lot of people here, and you have your own experience. It's not just me, I've experienced something and I can share about it. You too have been through something. You can share your story regarding what you've been through, and yeah, totally, like, so there's a lot of that, and I don't know, like, I'm just sort of like brainstorming of what that is thing. Just thinking it up, I don't know. Yeah, so I'm just dropping the ideas. If you like it, let me know. We can totally do that. Also, regarding that thing, I think like I've seen Lyric, if you've heard of the Twitch, and there's this guy Lyric who's streaming video games. I've seen him do kind of like a hotline thing or something where, for example, people would talk for 1 minute, but basically one of the mods take people from the crowd, add them to the chat, and the person would be on the audio simply saying a few things, so like maybe like Q&A or something, or just saying something live, wishing something to Lyric or whatever, and they just chit chat for a minute or two, and then Lyric says okay, bye, next, and basically they keep bringing people, and just there's like a few hours of this sort of like stuff. So like it's amazing, and I think we could totally do the same thing with Discord. Lots of variations. I'm just sort of like dropping it out there because we can totally do something together. And, you know, if it's not just like Q&A, we can totally do sessions or other things, whatever would seem to be most beneficial for you. I'm totally into that. Okay, TD Edition has pretty good questions. There's a few, so, I don't know, like, let's see. Are humans the only ones that have souls? Is consciousness and soul are same thing? Does archons and other entities have imagination ability? Do they have soul? So yeah, are humans the only ones that have souls? Completely not. We're just such a small little thing out of there. There's billions of beings out there. Every single dimension and stuff. Even like the demonic beings, even like the archonic beings, they too have souls. Not everyone, but there's a whole lot of beings out there who have souls, who have consciousness, who have full ability. So, yeah. Do archons and other entities have imagination ability? Not really. That's the thing why they're failing. A lot of them sort of like are limited and cannot use the creativity or imagination, so that's why they don't have as many powers as we do. Okay, yeah, let's see. The Rebel is asking, have I ever had a client that I did not want to work with? Yeah. There was this one guy. When I started out doing sessions, I wasn't even doing scans. I didn't knew that I could do it. So my main thing was then to do this like soul contract revocation process with others. And I had this guy from Turkey. He was into learning hypnosis, and he wanted to hypnotize women so that he could rape them. And like when he first started, like he just like says like, I have like coming in with an issue, like I have limits with hypnosis and I can't hypnotize. I just need you to unblock my abilities. And I'm like, okay, well, sure. And basically, as I'm asking questions and just like really getting it out, man, the person is like, I don't know, a sleazeball. It's complete like, he just wanted to learn hypnosis so that he could find every single girl, hypnotize them, get them in his bed, fuck them, by then. And he just wanted to get laid, and that's it. With that person, when I found out, like when I started doing sessions, and like the deeper we went, I'm like, what the fuck? I definitely don't want to get involved, because if I help and all of a sudden someone gets, some other girl gets raped because of him, I can't do it. So like that's where like I had to stop my work and sort of give a refund, bye now, sorry for this whole thing. But yeah, it's definitely like there's a lot of these people who have their own needs and wants, and I don't know. there are some people that I don't want to work with. So yeah. Okay, Lewis is asking, have I ever had to deal with a difficult fight against physical reptilian that you managed to put at its place? With reptilian, let's see. I can't really recall where it was difficult. It's more like a physical fight. It's not hard. It's not something like, oh shit, I have to work through it and like really suffer and stuff. No. I think like more limiting when we're talking about like these fights, and it's not the reptilians, it's more other races and like more conscious beings like us. It's kind of like when you get out of body, you have this astral shape, and there are other beings who are completely conscious in the astral shape, except while we're like, hey, why is the world fucked up and what can we do to make it better? While we're looking for ways to stop certain races and groups who are messing with us, there are people like us who are like, I want to fuck with people. I want to piss them off, I want to be a ghost, I want to like do something, and I'm like, dude, I get into the Astral and I'm like running around doing my thing, and this guy is literally fucking with people, draining their energy, catching them, and like basically physical body is asleep. He pulls out the astral body, have sex with the person, pushes them back in. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, like it's... People wake up, all exhausted, tired, wondering what is wrong with them. And they have a really harsh day. And this fucker is just running around messing with people. So fighting with a fully conscious being, completely the opposite of who we are, I don't know, that would be like harder, because he has same abilities, like maybe doesn't have as much knowledge or has his own ways, but like that would be more of a difficult fight, like finding someone equal, that's more difficult. Reptilians, other races, they're more like, they understand stuff. They understand that they don't really have that much powers, and if they know how aware you are of yourself, they're more like, oh shit, I better be careful. So even though they're like big ass ones, like looking down at you, you know, like you're like this and they're like massive, like gonna eat you and stuff, if you are aware that you can turn them into a pumpkin, they're like, whoa, better be careful how I talk to this person. So, you know, like there are times where these massive ones literally get down on their knees to your level to sort of be at your eye level and just like listening to what you have to say. So like there's like a lot of variations with other guys there, and a lot of variations with what kind of people go out of body and what they do out there. So really, there's a lot out there. Okay, Ali's asking, Akvile, in your realm creation, would there be a knowledge exchange program for people that want to download information packets like language and stuff? Totally, we can totally do that. I find it like really fascinating. For example, a lot of times when I go out of body, I find these facilities that are more like infinite libraries where you can pull out like, let's say, books or artifacts, all kinds of crystals, and literally, like you pick up a little crystal, and it's like starts shining like a hologram, and you start seeing kind of like a movie and like information and like kind of like little matrix deciphering and stuff. But literally, while with visual stuff it looks kind of weird, your conscious gets it all, and you literally can learn new languages, messages, other kinds of things, just like what people have been through. So just going through in these massive libraries, learning languages, learning new skills, learning abilities of what's like to teleport, what's like to use spaceships, how to craft things, everything. So like it's always fascinating, and I definitely want to do this for like other people who might go there just to chill, but as well they have ability to learn as much as they can. And one of the things why I love out of body is this massive knowledge. You get out there and you see things for yourself, and while I am here telling you what it's like out there, it's okay, it's cool, but if you were to experience it yourself and like double check on what Akvile has said, and then you see things for yourself, it's much more fun. Then you will understand what it's like, and maybe I haven't portrayed it like perfectly, maybe you will have a different kind of look at it, but what you can learn out there by yourself or with other people, it is so cool. It's so cool because like when you get back, you understand that like all these limits with our physical body, with what other people are telling us, with all these religions and groups of beliefs and stuff, out there you understand it all, and you come back here and there's no more fear. There's no more like, I should doubt that, or I don't know if I'm sure about this thing. Like, no. You have the deep knowing because you experienced it, you saw it for real, and you bring it back and you're like, I know shit. And it's not like to brag and show off, it's more like for yourself. Now you know where you stand, and that's the best part for me. So yeah, like I wish that we could create like realms, and we totally can, where people can get out and chill and learn and just like get so bright and just like, you know, come back without having fears about this life. Come back and don't be afraid of suppressing or like reincarnating and other things, and just like become so powerful. Like that's my dream. So yeah. Vager is asking if I have checked on Nika. Yeah, she's basically flying around with in different realms. Like yesterday, me and Nika, or like this morning, like early this morning, me and Nika, we were on the same project where we're creating this kind of like a technology. It's kind of like similar to a phone, but it's kind of like this holographic screen that allows any kind of beings to connect. So you can actually, it's kind of like Skype, like Facebook or something, but like it's on the Astral, where people can connect to other races of reptilians, of greys, of Arcturians and stuff. And it's basically just this massive way where people can chat with each other and see what they're up to. So like, you know, like me and Nick were working on that. She's okay. I think that's because my goal was to establish communications with other beings. She was more into helping me than actually helping you get out of body, but I'll give her a message so that she would help you more. So yeah, just saying. Never Surrender is asking, Hi Akvile, I have been taking photos of clouds and there are many different crafts in the sky. Will they become more visible as time goes on? Thank you. It's like a 50-50 thing. With these crafts, they have technologies that makes them invisible. So, for the naked eye, they can always be in the sky right there. And while the clouds are not there, they can simply be in the pure blue sky and just hover and do stuff. And we're not going to be able to pick it up because we don't really see it. They have technology that covers it up. Then there's other tech where, they can uncover themselves, maybe some other things. Cloud shapes, they definitely use cloud covers a whole lot. As time goes on, we have governments slowly saying, okay, UFOs exist. Aliens exist. Here's a little proof, but they're really undercover, dropping just a little bit of the truth, a little bit of the official info out there, and none of the mainstream media are publishing it. It's more just those alternative media Mind Unleashed, Collective, Evolution, other websites where they actually share about the stuff. They actually, okay, this is what CIA actually released regarding aliens and UFOs and their files and stuff. Other kind of things from Pentagon, the official stuff. So they're sort of slowly declassifying it. But the mainstream is sort of too busy with Biden is our fucking hero, vote for fucking Biden. It's such a bullshit. Yeah, distracted. So yeah. So I believe we're gonna see them. There's a lot of beings out there. It's just our governments are trying to quiet it all down. So yeah. Yeah, aliens like humans tend to that tend to the Earth. Pretty much there's a lot of ETs out there that actually like Earth. They're they actually like this place, and it's not they want to change it up. Not all of them want to change the Earth for their standards. So it's more they just like being here, and I don't know. There's a whole lot of chances that they're gonna be here with us long time, a few thousand years from now. But who knows? So yeah. Okay, let's look it up. Joel, I guess he's asking regarding the Elohim beings, and I just looked up the definition, kind of a name for God used frequently in the Hebrew Bible. So yeah, there's actually a lot of beings out there. Depends what we call, aliens and all this stuff, because aliens are still people. Depends how you look at it and stuff. Yeah, a lot of these godlike beings out there, they have ET forms, basically just a consciousness taken a different shape, and then we have other ETs who would like to shapeshift and just pretend to be that thing. So really depend on who exactly you're talking about, and if you have any connection to it or not, and how does it feel and all this stuff. Well, we have a whole lot of people here, and the Rebel is dropping money again. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate it. I'm still sort of scrolling down, catching up the comments and questions and what is up with y'all people. Sacred Ganji is asking, hey, what is Losh? I had newbie last night and I kept hearing this word when I came back. It's really interesting. Losh is basically the negative energy. For example, everything in this world is energy, right? And so when you get mad, you get angry, you are depressed, you feel sad, whenever your emotional tone drops and you're not doing too good, that energy is being converted into Losh. And so, which is why a lot of these beings out there, reptilians and others, there will be specific groups who will try to target us, who will try to make your everyday a bit worse. Cause this Murphy's Law where you do one thing and you just like, you lose the car key, you your dog walks up, someone cause the traffic jam, you break your favorite cup. A lot of things happening throughout the day. There's a lot of variations of what can happen with just physical everyday life, but then they can set you up with people where, you might have a great relationship with parents or your siblings or your lover, and next day they just show up some nasty thing at you, you're worthless no matter what you do, it just doesn't come out, blah blah blah, and they will say certain stuff that will trigger you, that will hurt most. The people that you love a lot in this world will be triggered by other ETs that can sort of put the thought in their head. And it's kind of like that person doesn't even think about saying that thing to you. It's more like the entity or things to shove it in. And it's kind of like a little takeover, where all of a sudden they have this thought and no control over it, and oops, they just snapped, they just say something they cannot get back, but they kind of relate to it because the entities have the full control. So, next thing is, that person says something nasty that hurts you, triggers you, you close up. So there's people around you, events, situations, and other things. There's constant thing that can trigger you, that can make you sad, that can bum you out, piss you off, and just put you in a place of depression and suicide. People are going through that every day. And there's a lot of ETs out there trying to trigger us because every time we go through these strong emotions, we are being sucked from Losh. And so basically, the more they, bash us and mess with us, the more that energy is being sucked out. And now, with that energy, it's not what are they going to do with that energy? They can power up their technologies, literally sucking out the negative energy, and the whole planet will be powered up. We are walking nuclear power plants. We are like suns. You are like a sun, except there's a whole lot of them within you, kind of so your energy is infinite, and they can just suck and suck and suck and suck and suck. And depending where you are in life, you can wake up feeling all dried out, and some people really moving close to depression and suicide, and person is about to kill themselves, and boom, all these negative emotions are gone, and the person feels calm, finally doing better. And then you sort of okay, kind of feeling better, getting back to life. And when you got your fresh air, when you finally got your time to chill, they bash you again and again and again, and just keep, it's like massive roller coasters going through all of these emotions. And basically it's one of their ways to suck us dry from our energy, to power up themselves, to get sort of energize their technologies, to sort of get their vitality from us and stuff. They're using it. And so one thing is to affect how we feel and suck out the energy, but another thing is redirecting our mind, because you are a powerful being. You are God. And whatever you think about, whatever you focus on, if you spend enough time focusing on it, you can manifest it. When they are acting against us, when they messing with us, they set us up on this negative mindset where life sucks, I'm helpless, I can't do anything, I suck, blah blah blah. A lot of these negative beliefs about yourself or life, and you're focused on it for a long time because of them. And because you're a godlike being, they redirect your focus on something negative and you keep manifesting it. Which is why this whole COVID thing with directing people into the fear band, and everyone's oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And with Biden and pedophilia and other shit, it's controlling people with their mindset, having them focus on something negative, on a certain outcome, and when massive people, godlike beings, focusing on one thing that these entities control us, it's so easy to mess with us. So Losh is just this negative energy that they use from us, and it's easy to do that for them. So there. I talk a lot, and I'm not sure if I'm clear enough. Akvile says playing music resets and energizes your chi, life energy, so they say, yeah, definitely. For some people, music is healing. That's one of the things that works for me, depending on the style and stuff, but it's kind of blowing everything off, and I'm just in that zen state, so I love it. Americ is asking, are there any practices you engage in the astral? For instance, I attend a telekinesis class with amazing people while in out-of-body experience and could feel active my root and crown chakra in order to activate the power. It felt like there was a learning curve to it, and many other students were more advanced. They even had a special diet that made me feel great for just one session. That's awesome. Yeah, I've in past there were times where I would find myself like like I get out of body, and I find myself like let's say like there are meditations and stuff. They're like kind of like I even had myself in planets where they were teaching more of a sexual stuff, like how to have the full pleasure, how to have the full bliss, how to have the like all the stuff, and I'm like, okay, just going with the flow. But then there are like all kinds of experience, like flying schools are so fun. Having these like let's say floating rocks, and they just push you off, and like there's like miles and miles down, and you're just flying, and you're like, oh shit, feels like you're falling, and then you get into your senses and you fly away and stuff. It's so amazing. So like there's a lot of things to do. So yeah. Yeah, so like basically regarding like practices, not too often, but sometimes I have it. Norwood, welcome to the stream. Good to see you here, buddy. Hey. Hi, Lila. Yeah, so since we have like 39 people, I'm just gonna mention and drop that idea again that while some of you are watching the streams and it's like really fun to do Q&A, I want to provide my like more value on my free time. So having connection on Zoom, on Discord, on Facebook, on phone, or in some other apps, WhatsApp, and all these things, we can connect together on the stream and maybe do sessions, maybe do some scanning, maybe just talk about different topics. Maybe I can interview you and you can share your experience and stuff. I think we can gather up some awesome people here, and just like while you're all watching me with all the 39 of you here, I'm pretty sure we have some brilliant people here. Each of you have something to share, and if some of you would be willing to get on the camera with me, we can actually talk about certain topics, about like any kind of ideas. Doesn't necessarily have to be just OOBE and stuff, just soul contracts, it can be anything. So just like more things for our stream. So if you're up for some things you want to offer of what we can do, or just some variations, feel free to let me know in the chat if you would be interested in that stuff. So just like mentioning it again. And yeah, I'm scrolling down to see more questions. Herbine Minecraft is asking, do I like Nintendo? I can't really say that I'm the biggest fan, but like there are some video games I like, and like some of the things they do. Even now, like I have the whole Pokemon thing going. Heck yeah, come on. Pokemons are cool. So there. Yeah. So like I guess like you could say like I kind of like it. Okay, Liberty has a question. So, when you talk about creating a world visually to transport to after death, can drawing or painting my world still work the same as visually imagining it in my mind? Totally. Just because some people are visualizing it doesn't mean that everyone has to do it. So if your way to visualize it would be to draw it, to paint it, to put it in the 3D, or to just like have a little sketch, it would totally work. You could literally have like a little code write-up, or just like a story of your own realm. Like if you are not more of a drawing and artist style, you can simply write. If you're a writer, a blogger, if you can like just like have sentences of like what your world will look like, and like it's a nice blue day and the sun is always shiny and blah blah blah, weather is like this, and you basically just write it down like what's it like. So whichever way you do, as long as you know what you want from that world, is gonna work. So whether you draw, whether you write, whether you visualize it, whether you're speaking out loud, whether you're playing music, it's gonna work. So if you have an intention of what kind of world you want, and you do something to express it, or simply think about it within your mind, it's gonna work. So it's okay. Mega Man. Mega Man sounds pretty good. Seth, I'm really glad to hear. Like Seth is still saying that he has been practicing working soul conscious with social anxiety, and it takes practice to perfectly get rid of them all. Yeah, Seth, it sounds great. What kind of items have you addressed? If you are willing to share, it'd be great, like to say, like like what kind of items have you tried to address? How many issues have you found? Agreements and stuff. Just like in general, don't have to go to details of with what's going on with your life if you don't want to. But Seth, like I mentioned, we could do these sessions, so literally you could be live here with me, on camera or not, whichever way you want, but you could actually tell me about your issues, and I could write down your agreements, or you could do it for yourself, and we could do the whole revocation process like for you, like for just helping you out with that. So I'm just saying, like, I could totally guide you and give you more quality time or stuff. But yeah, just saying. Okay, so another question from Emeric. Are human energy vampires usually paired up with an entity sucking up people's Losh, or is it the person himself doing weird things energetically? Usually, where's the tea? Here it is. Here's my tea. Usually with people, yeah, they're gonna have entities or the third party affecting them, and because the person is more like being used like a machine, that whole vampirism, energetic vampires, is more like there's another being controlling the human and working through the human to suck out the other. So basically, when we have these situations where you have another person coming to you, and whether you care about them or not, they come close and they trigger you. You know, they can say certain things, they can act in a way where they're just gonna trigger the shit out of you, and then, you know, you feel aggravated, but then you feel drained out. So you're like, hey, that person is an energy vampire, but that person has also been used to target you, to suck out your energy, and the person himself is like losing the energy. It's like, there's all kind of people, and there's also a cult. I work with a few people. They basically have been in a cult and got out of it, but there's another guy, Tony, something like it, leading a whole cult, and the whole idea is to literally mess up others as much as possible. Try to harvest their energy, try to harvest their personalities, try to harvest their winning stuff, and people are getting messed up all around you, and their idea is that the more you mess up others, the more better stuff you can get for yourself, and then you get rich, and then you get happy and stuff, and it goes massively into the person takes control of the tree, for example, has really good link with the nature, but uses the tree to connect to all over the world, with wherever that tree is. They connect to every single person or every single being that is close to the tree, sucking out their energy, and like basically working like this kind of like black magic installation where all of a sudden shit starts happening. So there's all kinds of things, and yeah, a lot of times there's another party working behind these people, controlling them, giving them ideas of what to do, and simply sheeples, or like let's say people who are not aware of these things, or like sort of give in, kind of like feels good at first, they feel like, oh, I'm powerful, I'm getting stuff, they're not aware of it, they're slowly being taken over and being used for the other side. So like there's all kinds of variations, but like definitely there's more beings sort of like related to this whole subject. Norwood is saying that he went out of body for about 7 times in his life, but he does a lot of imagination travels, and that is like really awesome because like there's a lot of ways to talk about the out-of-body experience, and simply consciousness shift. What you do if your imagination travels is kind of like a consciousness shift where you focus on something certain and you move your attention there and you work on it. So literally part of your consciousness shift there, and it's kind of like getting out of body, but you're out there, you're working on something else. So like, I'm really glad you're doing it. Simply like daydreaming. Stop daydreaming. Like, shut the fuck up. You're actually creating stuff. You're actually able to manifest things. So like, it's really good if you do that. So yeah, I'm just sort of like scrolling down, seeing what kind of questions you have and all, and yeah, just sort of like slowly answering it. Okay, yeah, so I'm looking like, Vagor is asking, what do you think about saying that if a person takes his life, he don't reincarnate and is stuck in this world? So basically, the person does not reincarnate, but is still stuck on Earth, if I got you right, Vagor. My point of that is like, basically, it happens a lot. It's more like a person, for example, physical body drops dead, but they wake up, and sometimes a person does not realize that he or she died. So literally the person is like, the physical body drops dead and it's kind of like in this like sleep mode, like for just like laying down dead. And the person is also like laying still. It's kind of like their second astral body, but like the real you. You can actually get up and walk around and go, but the person's like, oh, they don't realize that they're dead. And 3 days passes and stuff, someone finds them dead, like, what the fuck? They lift up the body, the person is still stuck within the body because they're afraid, and they're like, hey, where are you putting me? And they spend 30 years, 40 years in the sort of like in the coffin, thinking, well, this is weird. I've been waiting for a long time now, but I don't like it here. And the person literally finally leaves the skeleton, gets out of the skeleton, and literally rise above the ground as like a astral body is walking and like, hey, what the hell happened? And like basically died 40 years ago. The Earth now is using different technology, tries talking to other people, gets unnoticed, gets like, hey, no one's noticing me, no one's like really reacting to me and stuff like that. It's like, I met a person who actually died in the physical, but has not left it, and basically for a few hundred years believed that he is still alive, and just like felt super depressed because no one was talking to that person, no, everyone was ignoring it. He can't understand what the hell is going on with like, like he died a few hundred years ago, and why is no one using horses anymore? Why is everyone using these like metallic machines with 4 wheels? Like, what the hell is going on? And so this person completely trapped, feeling suppressed. So like it's pretty harsh. It's pretty harsh. And if we can help these people, like meet them and talk to them and say like, hey, look, you're dead. A lot of these people don't want to believe it. So there's part where they don't really have to reincarnate, but they're still stuck here because of their beliefs. And if they're able to like, oh, I'm dead, okay, where's the afterlife? Where's heaven or stuff? And they choose to go, they choose to do something else, then yeah, definitely, like they can get out of here. But some people are stuck to Earth because of their beliefs. So it does happen. If that's what you had in mind, Baker, I'm not sure if that's exactly what you had in mind, but from what I understood, I think that would be the answer. Seth, you're asking if I have ever had to fight another human being astrally, and how would I defend myself in that situation so like no one would win. Yeah, I sort of like mentioned earlier in the stream, but basically I have met a few conscious beings just like me who are out there doing their own stuff, but having like complete opposite beliefs of mine. And it's more like now the fight between beliefs and our own stuff, like like, hey, actually don't abuse people, don't do this, don't trap people, don't scare them. And he's like, nah, I'm just gonna have fun. So like there's a lot of variations, and it's more like it's one of those harder battles where you have to be super creative, because then you try various techniques, and if they're aware of it, you know, they can literally sort of like deflect it all, like basically defend themselves, and like there's nothing that works. Like you try speeding, you try time traveling, you try appearing in different places and stuff. Like a lot of like these ways of how to mess with a person. And basically what I did is just like create this kind of like imagine like small gift box where you maybe put a ring or earrings and stuff, like just like a little small gift box. But the whole gift box was a kind of like a different realm where I trap beings, if anything. So that person went in the box, tied up with a ribbon, and now it's like shaking in space, can't get out there. So that happened. Yeah, I had one of those. Okay. Still looking at more questions. Sakura Ganja, I think I sort of like answered your questions regarding Losh, because I sort of see the similar one. You asked one above, and I answered it. Unless it's the time trial, then here I am back in the chat. Jules is asking what time is it in Lithuania. It's 9:42 here. We just shifted time today, so it's 9 p.m. 42 minutes. So yeah, it's a bit different right now. Okay. Lewis is asking, I think I did not hear you testify about it. I've seen a few people who were not humans under their skin, included people in politics in a few countries. Is this something you have ever witnessed? Yeah, the thing about people and seeing someone else under their skin, like a reptilian or like some other ET, is a lot of these beings are multidimensional. So they can be here in the physical and somewhere else as well at the same time. Reptilian can be here close to my body and at the same time in the parallel realm, specifically same position, just a different world on their own place. So like literally beings can travel, be at different places, and they can get under our skin because they're like basically in parallel realm, but at the same time walking under our skin. And we feel like just like massive headache is kind of like just coming in, and literally a being is sort of within you, and you feel them expand. They can't like really fit in you, and their thoughts, their emotions, their things come up, and you are able to pick it up, and it really just like explodes with what you feel like and stuff. So it does happen, and that's one way to say it. But like seeing other beings under people's skin, it's definitely a thing. Like you're just going onto everyday street and looking at certain people, you can totally see it. Norwood is asking, is the corrupt Demiurge the original creator of this reality from your point of view? From my point of view, no. From my point of view, is basically consciousness creating different realities and planes and planets and dimensions. And it's more like, physical 3D is a place, cool. Earth and everything's cool, is part of it. And then other beings come in, like kids in the sandbox. They come to play, do their own thing, and basically a sandbox was there because someone created it. But now a lot of beings come over, like kids come over, and they're gonna play, and they make their own rules. So it's kind of like people come here on Earth, have their own rules, and like someone else comes in as well. They don't really agree with each other. So yeah, like I wouldn't give the credit to the Demiurge. I'm a smoking ATM 420. Yeah, buddy. Keep it up. Okay, so TD Edition is asking, does the source or God or universe is aware things are considered doing to humans? Totally. Basically, I'm just gonna throw it out there again. It's kind of like let's say we have a physical body, and it's all cool. Like, yay, I'm a human person and stuff like that. And then we have our system within us. Basically, bacteria, parasites, funguses, and stuff like that. And like little buddies. And then we might have pimples or things within our skin that if we squish it out and you zoom it in, you can actually see other beings. It's simply like, I think, if you look up, let's say your dog or a pet has a flea, and you use you get the microscope, I think, and just like zoom in on the flea, you're gonna see flea on the flea on the flea on the flea on the flea. It's kind of like just a whole chain and stuff, right? So basically, while we're here on planet Earth, on the surface, we're running around doing things. The planet itself has a consciousness. The planet itself can feel it. The planet itself can feel the damage, and we're like saying like, oh, Mother Nature is basically showing us its own power and stuff like that. So here's the thing. With all that happening, every other planets, stars, and other things, consciousness is basically taking a shape of it. And while we are here, let's say in the Milky Way is consciousness. Andromeda is consciousness, like basically incarnating into a whole different form. And you can, while being a whole galaxy, you literally are the whole thing. But you can feel every single planet and every single being within you. And so like the whole universe, you feel everything. So like this whole thing of how consciousness can take a form and literally experience everything as above so below is massive. And like while we're here, sort of like, holy cow, being a human is hard, especially here on Earth. Well, try being a planet out there. Try seeing like, oh shit, you're just a planet and someone else comes over and destroys all your people. And you feel like you've just lost your family. They're like a lot of these like traumatic events where we're talking about dimensions, right? Like, third, fourth, fifth, and stuff like that. It's like radio channels, so you can switch it up to dimension 25, 150, and like just keep on going. It's basically just like numerological system where like a location where you can find yourself in. So like I've had sessions where people were on the 27th, 26th dimension, literally, again, universes, planets, and stuff. And out there, they're living like basically the whole universe. Every single planet is like a family tree. A planet here is like a sister, brother, mother, like dad, and all this stuff, and they're like living out there. They're like a family, and so every time, like all these like planets are moving, they can communicate with each other. They have perfect understanding. They can sort of like, give each other the knowledge and basically energy and stuff like that. So like a lot of like beings living within, they have everything great. Then there comes a third party, Brilliance and others, and they take a planet, squish it, basically make it into nothing, drop down into another dimension, boom, reappears, expands the planet, it's here now, and the whole system is broken. But hold the planet, as a consciousness who is incarnated in the planet, basically lost all the friends, lost the family, is completely alone, traumatized here. And the being, like as a consciousness, you end up being traumatized, like I have no one to, like no one cares about me, I'm stuck, I can't get out, like I don't have anyone, like feeling lonely and stuff, end up going down and down and down and down, reincarnating here on Earth, or just like getting here, and ends up being a person who is basically afraid of people, having this massive social anxiety, can't talk to people, is being super afraid and all. It's totally a thing, so yeah. So, that being said, Northwood, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching and tuning in. And, yeah. Sort of like moving over to more questions and other things people are saying. Alright, so I'm just like slowly scrolling through the chat, seeing what you people are talking about. There's deciphering my experience, saying that Rich is awesome. So yeah, totally, he's amazing. If you haven't watched his latest videos, go definitely to his channel, check it out. I've been talking to Rich today. He has a whole lot to say regarding politics, regarding COVID, regarding other things, and he's like, the YouTube, basically, every time he makes a video, YouTube stats shows that he loses 50 subscribers per video. So every time he makes something to reach out to people, the video has 80 likes, 0 dislikes, a lot of people watching it, and massive drop in like subscribers. So it's like kind of like bullshit, like a shadow banning and stuff. And man, I just like wish he had like either less YouTube suppression or more people noticing his stuff. So anyway, just sort of dropping it out there since we're talking about him. And slowly, reading the comments. Deciphering my experience is saying that he would love to chat on cam, and could I give him 5 minutes? You mean today, like right now on stream, or sometime after stream, just personal stuff? Because, yeah, we can totally do it. Starseed likes my Pokemon shirt, thank you. Wicked One is asking, have I ever created a world or safe place I go to every night when I go to bed? I have a few of these experiences, yeah, like where I create the place, but for me, it's more like, even though safe place is cool, my default setting of what I'm gonna do when I get a robot is going out there and helping people. It's kind of like a 99% of my UBs is finding myself in these planets that are being attacked, that have gone through something, and like, what can I do to help people out there? So it's like always like when I get a body, I'm in the setting of helping others, increasing others, like lifetime and stuff like that. There's experiences, so like for me, safe place is cool, but I rarely actually do that. Like even today, I had a few of these experiences, like I think like one of the first times, it's been a really long time since I had a zombie OOBE, but I've been in a world where they had the whole zombie thing, and it's like even then going into the world completely dark, completely kind of turned over, full of zombies and stuff, and like where people are trying to survive, the whole feeling state of there is different. You feel much more free. Your physical body, like even if you have a gun and like all the stuff, you're basically like super light. You're not like limited because of carrying like heavy loads and stuff. No exhaustion, no fear. You know, you see these things coming at you, and like you don't feel like, oh shit, I have to survive, I have to run, this looks creepy and stuff. Like no, it's just like looking at it, like, and it's basically being able to confront beings, being able to check out what your body can go through, what would you do in these kind of scenarios, but nothing that would like actually limit you or scare the hell out of you. So it's pretty cool. Even then, like, you know, like you experience something kind of like nasty out there, and still better than here Earth. Sunny Days, she says that she doesn't know how to qualify, but would try Discord. Totally, like if you haven't tried, I think the Discord is in the description, so feel free to check it out, and definitely join, because I think in the future we can definitely do streams where I try to provide you more value, and whether you want to show up on camera or not. Q&A, just sharing your own story, talking about different topics, giving you sessions and stuff. Whatever you want to do, we can totally like sort of make it quite a variety, but yeah, it's totally doable. Crystal Dragon is saying that he did a social studies project in the 5th grade titled From Spartacus to Pokemon, about how games teach children to capture animal slaves and force them into combat trainer. Wow. That's a good one. That's a good one. Frank was asking, what part have I reached in One Piece? It's funny, because I have watched only 197 episodes so far, out of 900 something. So like I'm still at the very beginning. I just finished the Skypiea arc, and right now I'm like at the G8 filler arc. I'm translating it. I'm not watching it. Like just sit down, chill, and like one after another. I'm translating it to Lithuanian, which is why I'm taking it slower, and I have other projects. Like right now I'm like sort of like translating Danmachi, like is trying to pick up Girls in the Dungeon and Fire Force and other like anime. So like I'm taking much more slower than I should regarding enjoying the experience out there. But yeah. The Blank Mind guy donated $10. Really appreciate it. And also he has a question. Damage to the neurons or tissue of the frontal lobe can lead to personality changes. So that means when the brain is damaged, consciousness is also damaged. So is the brain like just a radio? Pretty much. But like while the physical stuff affects you, for example, you might get disabilities, you might have amnesia, you might have dementia, you might experience things that will change your physical life for like permanently. Your consciousness, when your physical body drops dead, will not be affected by it. Right now you're limited for the physical body, but at the same time your beliefs, your programming from surroundings, like for example you hear the medical stuff and like they tell you what you're going through, the symptoms, and like what's life supposed to be like. You hear the stuff and you're like and you know the mind agrees to the way it is, and like we turn on TV, we turn on other things, disabled people, this is how they are, and we see how life is for people who have gone through something like that. So whilst the physical body right now is suffering and you might have issues that are super hard to deal with, once the physical body drops dead, once you get out there as a consciousness, you will be in the shape when you had the perfect life for yourself. For example, maybe you experience this kind of thing, let's say a few years ago, and some people have amnesia, they forget everything, and they're worried like, oh, what's after death? What's gonna happen after I die? Some people go into disability, some people lose their sight, they go deaf, they have all kinds of issues, right? So physical body drops dead, but the way your body will be like once you die in the astral, you wake up in the state where you felt perfect when you lived here. For example, you're running around like a 5-year-old kid, maybe you're 18, and you're feeling like, hey, this is the perfect shape I have. I feel super energized, you're happy with your life at some point. And that moment when you enjoy yourself the most is what you're gonna look like when your physical body drops dead and you get out there. So while in the physical world right here, you might go through really traumatic stuff and really suffer, once you get out there and you are free, that will not limit you. You will have your memories, everything you know while you're here on earth will stay with you. Your physical body will not be limited. You will not have cognitive issues with the mental state. And the thing is, well, here we might worry, we might have concerns about this and this and this, and sometimes it's a brain fog and like all these like abilities to think is just like locks up and like, I really have to make a decision, but nothing's coming up and stuff. That really comes up. But when you're out there, the thing is, it all disappears. And that is the part that's like super magical to me. Like having this thing, kind of like a near-death experience, or let's say even getting out of body. It's kind of like the proof of what it's gonna be like out there when you die, because it's the experience. And all these worries, all these mental states is gone. It's completely quiet, it's calm, your case is gone, all of your issues gone. You're not even thinking about it, you're not thinking in the first place. And you just have this knowing this. You see the world, you see this, like, let's say, some people appear in different places, and some people might see light, some people might see other beings, or you might be in complete void. But this void is not scary. This darkness that people are afraid of is super calming. It's just like, and you open your eyes, and you can look around, and while you might not see visuals in the first place, or you might see some stars and some planets and stuff, you're just like super calm. It's kind of like, like being in the bathtub in this like warm water where you're just like, kind of like fun stuff. So out there, it's so calm. You just have knowing this. Not a single thought of like, what do I do now? Like no worries. It doesn't come up. Fear doesn't show up. And from then on, you decide what you want to do next. So while we might experience changes right here in this physical world that might impact our lives, and we're suffering through a lot. Some people might lose their limbs, like you're saying, damage to the neurons or tissue of the frontal lobe can lead to personality changes. And while you like really are messed up right here, right now, and you're suffering with it, out there it will not limit you. So while you're here, if you can, try studying, try like learning about possibilities of what's waits for you out there. And the most important part is to empower yourself, is to empower with knowledge of what sort of awaits. And basically just sort of be sure that your godlike being, whatever you think of, whatever you imagine, can be created out there. And so while here you're limited, out there in this complete void, you think of your favorite video character, a hero, a castle, and your thought will be able to make it right in front of you if you put intention to it. So like you focus on something and you can create it right in front of you, and while you're here and you're like, where do I go? Think of your favorite movie. Think of your favorite book, your favorite place that you have ever seen. And it doesn't have to be Earth. For example, maybe you really like Sequoia Park, maybe you like Disneyland. You just take the picture and say basically the world that is not affected, like not connected to Earth or Archons, and just my own place, a little Disney park out there. And literally teleport, and you can have people come and join you, you can be alone, but literally anything you can think of, you can manifest out there, and it's not gonna limit you. So, while you're going through some stuff right here, right now, out there's gonna be clear, and your consciousness is not affected. It's just basically your state of mind right now and how you're experiencing life. That's the effect. But like once you're out there, it's not going to be a thing. So yeah, hopefully that sort of makes you feel better, or gives assurance that like it's not the lost cause. You can definitely have full control of things out there. And at the same time, personality changes. It's a big aspect. It's a big aspect of how we see things, but at the same time, I work with people who have so-called the bipolar disorder and other things where like they have lots of personalities, they change it up all the time and stuff. So we humans, we're sort of like entity clusters ourselves. Our emotions or personalities are basically part of those. And like, let's say we have a cluster of entities that is all pissed off, that is all negative, that stuck and can't do anything. Like literally, one cluster can literally be do mind fog, brain fog, and just like, I can't think, I'm stuck. So literally, you can remove this entity cluster from your space and see if that helps. So while you can remove some personalities yourself, you can also see what kind of things do you like. What kind of things maybe you have had in the past that you want to get back, or maybe some of the things that you want to manifest. And so you simply think of that character. Let's say you think of another you out there in the multiverse that actually has that actually has the perfect mindset, the boldness, the complete control of how you act and how you feel throughout the day. And think of what it's like. And basically think of it like maybe a little bubble of energy or something. And it's kind of like copy paste or simply attracting it. So you think and you're clear about what you want, you're being very specific, and you can literally attract it and sort of integrate it with yourself. And with that, like it's kind of like a daily practice, it's like similar to soul fragment retrieval. And with that, you can literally get some of the personalities and aspects back to yourself, connected, and see if you have any changes. So that'd be a thing to try out spiritually if you want to. But yeah, like I really hope you can do something to make your life better regarding that. So this is my answer, and I'm gonna take a little break drinking my tea and read up more comments and questions and keep on answering that stuff. Emperor Rex is saying, so could I sum it up as to being like Q from the Next Generation Star Trek? I guess. I guess. I'm looking at the question by Cosmos United regarding, okay, awesome subject, how do we fix this people attacking us? Like, really fixing it. Not the shadow, blah blah, but like people attacking us. So, Cosmos, do you mean like physical people, like right here on Earth attacking you, or let's say people get out of the body and attack you? Because it's more like a mindset. The way we are right now in the physical, the way we act, we're not gonna really change just because some people have certain mindsets like, oh, these people are like really bad and these people are really good, and they get out, they still carry on their same beliefs. And I don't know how far should they expand into the subject, but like I would like you to sort of clarify regarding fixing people attacking us. What do you mean by people? Who exactly, and in which way? And then I can sort of like focus in and try to answer that question. Okay, Stanley is asking a really good question. Do NPC characters, friends, family can get entities even if they are soulless? Totally. Simply think of physical body. It's like a meatball, a flesh. And you know how you drop a meat and you're just like getting rid of meat, and then you have flies coming over it when it gets bad, it gets rotten and you have all kinds of maggots and stuff on it. Same stuff. So physical bodies are like this flesh, and it can get rotten with our emotions and what we think about. And while the soulless bodies, they're actually would be really well programmed. For example, if they're soulless and you meet soulless beings, it's a perfect way to have this massive rotten flesh or meat bag walking all over the place, carrying tons of entities to infect others with it. So totally, they can totally have entities and they can mess other people up. So yeah, it's a thing. Okay, so I'm gonna focus more on the Cosmos United question. He's also clarifying. I'm sort of like still catching up, so I'm gonna read your bottom comment after what I read right now. But basically, you're saying someone doesn't want me, love me, blah blah blah, and I get it. But they keep physically attacking me and rejecting me. What do you actually need to revoke? Because I can't see the agreement. I can't pull out. Okay, and also another thing. You're clarifying that someone rejects you in your dreams and visions even though you got it already, and he keeps reinforcing and stuff like that. Okay, reinforced belief, reinforced rejection. So basically, what I would do, let's say you have this like reinforced rejection, and we're talking about removing soul contracts. Let's say I understand. So there's a lot of ways to go with it, but like when it comes to soul contracts and how do you find the agreements and stuff, basically, you go into who specifically. He keeps rejecting you, so he would have a name, I guess. Unless you don't know the person, but basically, okay, so this person in your dreams keeps rejecting you. So that name can be, let's say, Justin or something like that. And like basically, if you know the person, then you add their name into the whole item. If you don't know, you can sort of like describe his looks or give him a label. But basically, every time I have a dream, this guy keeps rejecting me. That would be your item. And then, basically talk it up. Like, what might be some of the reasons this guy, every time you have a dream, keeps rejecting you? So you talk it up. Bring up your agreements, like, I don't know, I just show up and it just keeps happening. I just, like, every time I see, or every time I'm out there, this person shows up and just, like, rejects me and sort of tries to reinstate or reinstall this fear or bad feeling state. And, like, basically, you would name, his name. That's really good. So, you would be basically sort of, like, just trying to get it out there. But what you're doing is, you're not looking for why is he doing it, but more like, why is this happening? As in, this whole thing can be like a construct that you keep being teleported to like reinstate those beliefs and all the stuff, so they can literally get you. So, Cosmos, like, write me an email. I think we can if you give me more details regarding the subject, like I can definitely look for possible agreements you have. But basically, a lot of times, these things will be cost to us, like reinstating our fears and stuff. Or like some people will have same old nightmare. Meeting same old people that will reject them and stuff, and it's just basically waking up with triggered emotions. So what specifically emotion is being triggered is a thing. How does it make you feel? How much does it happen and stuff? It's a lot, and with all that, looking for agreements and other things is totally a thing. I'm just like touching this in general, so I don't know, like if you could write me an email and give me more details, I can definitely give you more info regarding that. For 3 years, wow, it's pretty bad. Like, I would have to like think of a specific scenario or like sort of like stop everything and really focus on the subject to give you enough. But we can definitely do something about it. Like, let me know what is up. Maybe you can tell me more of the story and what's going on. Because like sometimes it's like a repetition. It's stuck program where, you know, part of you stuck with it, or maybe someone else is trying to install it and just like fuck with you, to be honest. And you know, we can like look at the constructs made or other things, and while some of it might not be visible, you basically look at the possibilities and name it out there, or whatever you're feeling throughout the day. You can totally work on it and like remove some of the agreements with it. I'm looking at the question from David Turner. It's really interesting. Do we need a body in this world to do what we want, or can we fulfill our desires in some other way? It really depends on which way you look. For example, as a consciousness, if without incarnating here, you could go to the copy of Earth, and without incarnating, you could be there and actually, you know, feel all the possible emotions and stuff, like what it's like having a family and other things that are not triggered and stuff. So you can definitely get like your goals and emotions and everything fulfilled, like all of your desires taken care of, totally. But while here with the physical body, I see it more of a thing that's like limiting. Right here on planet Earth, physical body is limited, because out there, like even like I had this like OOBE with being in the zombie land. It's like super rare for me to have these like in the zombie place, but even then, it's so much better. Like the body's super light. I don't feel any like pain or anything. Here, it's really limited. To fulfill our desires is more like on a hardcore level here. So I'm not sure if I understand your question correctly. Like specifically here on Earth with the physical body, like do we need to have that to fulfill the desires, or like can you do it the other way? But then again, like desires depend on how you look at it. Like some of them can be implanted, so it depends on, you know, goals, purposes, desires, like what's specific. And other times, you know, what kind of things you're talking about, like specific desires. That would be another thing to look into. Sacred Ganja is asking, is there a heaven? Yep. So basically, with the whole thing with like heavens and hells and stuff, as we focus, and we can create any kind of realm. Let's say we just focus on, and we can create a Pokemon world, or like let's say as this wallpaper goes, the whole retro wave kind of thing, like kind of like cyberpunk and all. We create these realms and like, oh cool, like, you know, like you manifest it. Same way, if you think about hell or heaven with your own definition of what it is like to you, you can create that thing. But 7 billion people right here on Earth can have their own definition and their own visuals of hell or heaven, and they will be able to manifest it as well. So there's all kinds of these places, and they definitely exist, but there's a whole variety of what it's like out there. Matthew Nixon is asking, is the feeling of love at the first sight just a reconnection to past life or something? Just curious. There's a lot of variations on it. There's a whole lot of variations. Thinking of something positive, firstly touching some good subjects. Yeah, sometimes we can recall past lives. For example, we lived together for quite a bit in other lifetimes, and like quite often as well. And you just like meet a person, and you all of a sudden feel this massive connection, like, hey, I know the person. And you know, you might have come here together with certain idea, like, hey, we're gonna get together to go through this together, and then basically be able to handle this place. But at the same time, sometimes beings can get dropped without like really having like, hey, we're gonna go to Earth. They can just come at random times and stuff, but they meet each other, and they're like, oh cool, hi, it's been a while since we saw each other. So there's like past life connection. Then we have alien love bite, where both people can get kidnapped, can get abducted, and basically their astral bodies are being sort of like injected and implanted, so when they come back, they can be complete strangers. They might have not had many like lifetimes before together, but with the new implant, they're gonna fall for each other. And this love will be complete clusterfuck. They can love each other, they can go mad about how much they love each other, but then it's a whole back and forth. Like, you try to give love and you try to come close and the person backs off, but then when you find your own thing to do, then they call you, write you, and like really, oh, let's get together. And then you get together, and it's just like incident after incident, argument after argument, like one thing after another. So basically, ETs can also alter our love because it's quite a big thing for us, and they can like really mess up the relationship. So like they also do this like alien love bite thing by Eve Lorgan. You can look it up. It's totally a thing. Happens to a lot of people as well, and we have all kinds of third parties. So like really depends on love at first sight. But then what happens later? Do you have actually a good connection? And like it's not like, hey, you finally like found your soulmate and everything's gonna be fine from now on because you two are together. Like no, people still have to work through all their challenges, and while they are here on Earth, they have already been programmed with stuff, and they already have different beliefs, so they will be affected by their lives they have lived while being here. And from then on, it's gonna be like all kinds of challenges and stuff. So while we might not be perfect, you might have some challenges and go through it and like, hey, okay, we kind of got through it, so let's keep on going. But sometimes it's a complete mess, and really depends how it is for others. So yeah, so like looking at how the relationship is going, we can look at the love at first sight and decide it was actually past lives or kind of like the whole alien love bite or something other. So there's that. I'm looking up one definition. Okay, so the person is asking, how do I get out of solipsism syndrome? Solipsism is the psychological idea that only one's mind is sure to exist. The view or theory that the self is all that can be known to exist, the quality of being self-centered or selfish. I would basically just go into exploring it. List out everything, like if it's all self-centered and nothing is beyond that. I would go into, list out like items to address or talk about, but like being specific. I'm the only being that is existing. It'd be like interesting to sort of go like I have not sort of like looked into this issue before, but like where would I start is to list out how I see the world. I'm the only one existing, and that would be the belief. And so like what might be some of the reasons for believing that you are the only one existing? What might be some of the reasons for like what might believing that you're the only one existing be keeping you from doing, allowing you to do, and you basically ask yourself tons of questions to talk it out, and as you talk out, you will find other subjects to address. But now the idea is to dig deep within into your belief systems and to seeing where does this come from. Because a lot of people, for example, they have issues starting things in life. They might have issues with being programmed by parents. Parents will say like, don't do that, don't do this, stop talking, shut up, and all kinds of things, and they say it over and over again, and it becomes a thing. It becomes your program. Now you are controlled by that thing. So really depends where that thing is coming from you, and then looking into your beliefs about it, you basically are able to talk it out, like look deep within and get new realizations, new cognitions, and after that you can reform your belief system. So right now, like what I would sort of like offer is to basically list out like your beliefs and how you feel about the whole solipsism thing, and then just like one after another, just try to go deep within and talk it up and see where is that thing coming from. Exit the Matrix is asking a good question. What if a person wants to leave this universe for good and go somewhere where they can live in peace and harmony forever? It is totally doable, it's totally possible, and I don't see why anyone would want to stop and not do that. So basically, whether you get out of body and you go out and never come back, it's totally possible, or whether your physical body drops dead and you choose to go somewhere else and you choose okay, this is my new realm, my new place, and I'm not going out there. I want my rehab place. I want to have love and peace and just chill. you can totally do that. Like, no one's forcing you to join Defiance to go somewhere else unless there's actually a third party after you. But basically, you can like literally escape the whole duality thing, go away from different realms, and just look out where's the best place for you, away from Archons, away from all these beings, basically even create the shielding where no one can go through, and just enjoy yourself. Live your life the way you want. You can create all your own scenarios where, you know, your abilities, what's in that realm, you can always change it up, and be in peace for as long as you want. It's totally possible, and you can totally do it. Okay. I just saw a question from Losh. She's asking, is it possible to meet up somewhere out of body in a group that has agreed before and going on mission together? Totally. I haven't did that much studies on Gnostics, but that's what I've heard, that as a group, they would be together and have a goal like, okay, when we get out of body, this is what we're gonna do. And they would literally go out, and together as a group, they would find things out, they would come back, compare notes with each other and other things. And that's basically as far as I know, but definitely, you can totally... I did it with my few classmates where I was able to pull them out of body. And sometimes we would meet up like, oh, hi, he always just see you. So you can either like have it by accident, but like it's really even better if a person can get out of body, do astral projection, and have this shift. With you've mentioned doing ayahuasca. So it depends, like if you have people that you trust, you can basically all together try to think of a specific place, maybe try ayahuasca and together go out there, but like, you know, like it's for your own like purposes, like, you know, like depending which way you want to do it. Like since you had this experience, I'm sort of like mentioning it to you, but people can definitely decide of where they're gonna go, what they're gonna do, and even like right now, we could have a group of people connecting together. For example, right now we have 53 viewers here, so all of you can simply chill, sit down, relax, and I can give you commands of like, okay, here's a script or scenario, like in D&D, I'm gonna be a storyteller and just sort of like guide you. Basically, we're gonna appear in this place and sort of simply giving commands, but you take your time to visualize to be there. But then literally people can compare notes. And the funniest thing, even while not really getting out of body, while simply sitting here, kinda half awake, kinda half out there focused, you can literally, yeah, I saw this person, yeah, I saw this being, we just had this conversation, I sort of like waved with this being, and you can all compare notes and see that you have actually met each other because we had specific location, and all of you, while being kinda half awake, half somewhere else, like sort of like focused on the other realm, you can totally be as a group together. So now, if we learn how to get out together, how to do something, we also can decide what we're gonna do. And maybe people are pissed off about COVID and want to stop it, so let's look at what's causing the whole, like who's controlling the thing, who's trying to run this program, and let's try to shut them down. Who's impacting people out there, and let's shut them down and stuff. So we can totally engage in all kinds of missions and pick up on the big guys and like fight in these wars. It's totally possible, and we can totally do it, and that would be a great thing to do. So I'm totally up for it. So yeah, just like I'm really glad you brought it up. It's totally a good thing to do. Okay, Johnny Red is also asking a great question. Why do humans have unlimited power while other beings are limited if we are all consciousness? Just because we're humans doesn't mean that we have unlimited power, because it's more of how aware and conscious we are of our powers. For example, you, right now, you know what you're capable of. But just pick a random person who is completely buying into COVID's thing and who does not believe in the whole out-of-body stuff. When you two die, your chances will be much higher than that person. Because that person will be like, what's up now? And having no idea of what it's like out there, because like no interest, nothing, like, wow, who gives a fuck, just dies and stuff. So you will have much higher chances of dealing with things and like going through stuff rather than that person. And so, it's not because we're humans, it's because like you are interested in these subjects and just like trying to get more awareness and knowledge of how it all works. And so out there, beings as well, they might be busy with their own bodies, with their own missions, and not really exploring the possibilities. And like, if they're not really capable of look, what can I do? I can fly, I can do this and this and this. So it's basically just the lack of awareness and the lack of understanding, and that's the biggest thing. Um, TD Edition is asking if I have watched Natsume Book of Friends. No, not yet. For me, watching anime is kind of exclusive activity if I can get there, because like usually I'm busy with giving sessions, and if I am engaged with anime, it's more of a translating and like not watching it like to enjoy, but like getting it done and getting it to the public. So like not yet. I didn't have that exclusive happy moment. Starseed is asking how many Pokemon shirts do I have. I think about 3. I just got them recently. It's like going to a store and they have sales going, and like, oh look, a shirt just cost $2. Yay! So I'm taking it. So yeah, I'm lucky. Like literally, this shirt $4. Yes. So I'm lucky. Yeah. I'm not the person who's into spending too much money or getting things for myself. So like getting a shirt like that for such a cheap cost is awesome. Nules is saying that Akira is on the every computer he owns or she owns. Akira is awesome, really good movie. Okay, let's see. Sacred Ganji is asking, how does cannabis affect our consciousness and does it help? I would say like for different people, they have different experiences. Since I have sort of like well, let's say like for me, smoking weed, like I said in the previous stream, was just like a funny moment. Like haha, I laughed for a while and that's it. Snoozy, cool, that's it. For me, it wasn't that much of a thing. Other people actually are able to pick up on things. Like finally see stuff. For me, I'm already able to do it, so like I don't really see like, hey, it's everyday thing. Come on. So like really depends on each person, and then how you're able to do it. Like some people can try various things and be able to pick up and let's say ayahuasca, DMT, other things, mushrooms and stuff like that. They try it out and they actually like, hey, they finally start seeing things and they open up the door and get the access. Others are maybe overdoing it and firing themselves up. I have clients who completely burnt it and messed themselves over and now can't help to fix it and stuff. So like lots of variations, and I don't know, like it does not really affect the consciousness as much like just like messes up with the physical body, where it can open up the ability to like perceive that stuff if you're lucky. So yeah, it's a thing, but like it's not more of a conscious mode, but more like just like opening up a bit of the awareness and what you're picking up. But it's not like really affecting the conscious, like what you're gonna do out there. Not a thing. It's more like what do you know, what are you capable of, and how can you use it. So there's that. And then we have JB7 with massive donation. I really appreciate it. I don't know what to think about it. Like, wow, thank you. Really appreciate it. Norwood is saying getting high during an OOBE is terrible. I haven't tried that. Like, I've been in some of those like LCD worlds where everything's kind of like I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. Can I maybe get a picture? Oh. The visuals of the whole reality. Yeah, like psychedelic stuff, that would be like a thing. Maybe I can open up display capture. Yeah, there we go. So like seeing that kind of stuff where the visuals are all different, for example, like this and this, the whole reality and the realm where I'm flying, there are no worlds or stars or anything else. It's more like you know, all this stuff. So like that's pretty cool. So yeah. Okay. Alright, so scrolling down to the questions, seeing it's up. Oh, okay. Liberty is asking a question. Once I have created my world, can I then concentrate now, once I have created my world, can I then concentrate now on my created place and teleport there when I'm trying to get out of the body? Totally. So like, let's say you have your own realm that you created, like you worked on details and stuff, and you might have specific buildings, specific place that you would like to be in. So you can actually set up the spawning place or default setting where you're going to appear when you get out of the body, and literally, I think as I tried doing is, when my physical body is about to fall asleep, or let's say I go to sleep, I'm asking, pull me out of body. And literally every night now, for 7 nights, I've been testing it out, like, pull me out of body. And I'm out there. I have natural ability to get out, so for me, I can't testify it's actually working, but I have tried in the past with specific races of Eltrons and Golden Crowns and stuff, where they were able to pull me out, but you actually might ask yourself, like maybe from your spirit guides, from your other beings that you might trust, if there are any. So there's that. But basically, the magic behind that is kind of like, you have the inner clock. For example, you need to go to work or to school, so you're gonna set up time for yourself, like, oh, I have to get up at 5 a.m. and stuff, and you set up the alarm clock for, let's say, 5 a.m. You're gonna wake up at 4:30 or 4:55 and stuff, but a few minutes or some time before your alarm clock rings, naturally, because you set up the time where you have to get up and your physical body will like react to it because you programmed it, and it listens to the commands because it obeys and stuff. So same thing, you set yourself a goal, I'm getting out tonight, I'm out, I'm doing this, and you set a goal of what you're gonna do, physical body falls asleep, you get out. So like, it's part of the way how you can try variety of like various techniques, but at the same time programming yourself of getting out and stuff, that might help out. So hopefully, you can try it out and it helps. Sort of like opening up. Okay, so Sage is asking a question. Any thoughts on NPCs? NPCs or NPCs? Like, a lot of people are saying an NPC, but maybe there's a different definition to NPC. Well, I will go with NPC, without, not M, but N. So anyway, any thoughts on NPCs? Are most people on Earth just NPCs? And what exactly also is NPC? So starting, what is an NPC? We have to clear a definition. Non-player character. So basically, NPC is non-player character, and a character in the game, usually it's used in like video games and stuff, which is not controlled by a player, which means a soul. While, let's say, you're the creator being, you start playing a video game, so you're gonna create a character, And because you are a soul, you sort of incarnate and you can control the person from within. You can command what they're gonna do, and you can sort of feel what they feel and all the stuff. This is a video game term. But for example, with this whole creation of being on Earth and like all this stuff, it's kind of like it's a massive simulation. And NPC is basically a player that has no one controlling them. They're basically completely empty, acting like a controlled program thing, like a clone body that has no consciousness within or anything. You're not controlling it. And it's basically, you see your double, but it's kind of like a robot going by the commands of, oh, pick up this, act like a human, and like talk and stuff, but emotionless. There's nothing within. So, to answer the question, are most people on Earth just NPCs? My say would be no. I see a whole lot of people who are real there. So, like, having a soul, having pure consciousness and being there. It's just that now it seems that way because so many are sort of dumbed down and controlled and are, like, acting like sheeps. And there are NPCs. There totally are soulless people. But not all, and definitely not more than we have right now. Because just sort of, like, see yourself as a god who is super powerful. And these beings out there, like specific groups, are trying to trap us here within this physical body, limited, so that like now we're suffering and we cannot get out at will. Like right now, let's say when you're playing a video game, or you're on your phone, you can log out and like back off at any time. So you're basically getting out of body in any way out there. Right here, we are forced, and even if we try to get out, we have all these gates and like we're stuck. We have so many limits, but not just on getting out. Now, our focus here is super into material world and trying to survive and going through other things. While out there, we can think in the massive picture. So, we're totally being messed with. And I personally don't believe that there are that many soulless people. There definitely are, but not that many. So that's my take on it. Ali's also asking, like, on a similar subject, hey Akvile, CIA agents say that 90% of people are soulless beings, or 1 in every 4. Do you think that's true? No, I don't. From my personal experience, just walking around in town, seeing a lot of people, hundreds of them every day, they have a soul. Like, right now, like, how do you find out if, like, one is soulless or not? Like, for me, it's easy because, let's say, while we have an energy field, if you poke a person, for example, or get close to them, sometimes we feel like we're being watched, and we feel like, oh, uncomfortable, like, I don't know, like, it's just, like, weird, someone's watching me, and we feel like that's pressure, because another being can be close, and we pick it up. So, while you have this ability to pick it up, people who have soul are there. They can react to it. And simply going out there and, like, sort of, like, poking their energy shield, they're gonna, like, look around, like, who's that? Like, who did that? Because they can pick it up. So, for me, I can test it out and sort of see it. To say statistically, statistically how many people are soulless or not, is really hard, because it's at the same time, just imagine that everything you're not seeing doesn't exist. I'm not in India or Africa or America right now, so all of those people don't really exist to me. If I'm not really focused, they're just like not there. I just see the numbers. I don't see people. Do they really exist? If we're really going that deep into all the details and stuff like that, like it's like a lot of this like philosophy and like looking at this whole simulation and stuff. But for me, I am seeing much more people with souls than soulless. There are those, of course, but I don't agree with the statistics. And maybe if I had more access to whatever CIA says, maybe if I ever actually saw like that many of them, that would be cool. So yeah, if I actually have anything, have any experience that actually changed my mindset, or actually sort of like I'm able to pick up like, oh, holy cow, there's just so many soulless people, then actually I'm gonna like change my beliefs and say like, hey, whenever I say that thing, I was wrong. So like I'm always open for the experience, and always open for, like whatever I'm learning right now. For example, if I like notice that in the past I say the thing like, okay, I'm definitely gonna say like I was wrong at the time. So I'm always up for getting better and understanding new things. So yeah, just throwing it out there. Rufus King says, "Hi Akvile, I have listened to you on a regular basis since your printable with the great James Bartley and Eve Jorgen, probably Lorgan, and thought it was the time to say hi as feels like a voyager just watching. Hi Rufus King, thank you for tuning in, appreciate it." Sev has a great question. So if someone knows about the reincarnation trap and then develops dementia, would that person be more in danger of being tricked after they die? No. My answer to that would be no. While we're here, and everything we learn here, for example, we learn like, oh my god, there's like actually sort of like some soul traps and archons and other things that can happen, but then some accident happens and you might get amnesia, dementia, and other kind of things. Once your physical body drops dead, you will have all the memories that you've had before here. So even everything after like before and after dementia will be with you, because it's like sort of like programmed within the consciousness. So like everything you have experienced here in the physical life will be with you. It's not going to affect your experience afterwards, where like it's basically 20, 50, 70 years of life with what you've experienced, and then you get like dementia, and after that like you live for like 10 years and like oops, died, and now I know 20 years. Like no. Basically your whole existence while being here, you will recall it all. Now this runner is saying, like, I saw a teenage girl in the shop and we looked at each other. Her eyes were like 5 times larger than mine. Looked as if there was a sky inside her eyes. So we looked away and like didn't look twice. Just kept walking. Yeah, like some of those beings are hard to confront. Like for people who have never really had an encounter, it might actually be like, never again. Just go away. So I'm just like sort of like going through the comments and seeing what is up. August is asking, Akvile, do you believe in space Nazis? There's plenty of them. Like a lot of these groups we have with Nazis, with USSR and others, they're out there as well. Sadly, like they have plenty of those beings and groups going like, hey, let's go and like communism in space. Fuck you guys. So yeah, so there's plenty of those too. Okay, here's a good question. Exodramatrix is asking, since we don't take the physical issues into other realms, what about mental illness like schizophrenia or other things? Will it affect people? No. It's more like right here, right now, with the whole schizophrenia thing, a lot of people are calling it like disorders and stuff, but if you look at it deeper, I have actually worked with people who were so-called in like officially said and like been in the nut houses, and they were called like schizophrenics. Working with them, we have removed countless affinity clusters, calm as can be, and the whole thing of schizophrenia stops and doesn't bother them again. So it's more like affinity issues. It's more like not maybe everything, but a lot of it. It has to do with entities, with other beings messing with us tuning in into other stuff, and it's more of being messed up here on Earth. Once you get out there and the astral and like or your physical body drops dead and you're out there, it's not gonna affect you because you are not anymore an open radio that is controlled. Like right here, they have more control over us. But once you're out, you're free, and that thing is not something that actually can limit you that much. So, no, you can actually then see these entities that might talk to you and stuff, but you will have, like, no thoughts. Like, right here, right now, we can have this 24/7 radio thing going with a lot of these, like, thoughts and emotions, and you hear the screams and, like, other things, and it's just, like, overwhelming. But once your physical body drops dead, or you get out of body, it's calm as can be. None of that. None of these emotions or weirdness. It's just like, wow, it's so cool here. And so, like, all of that drops. So for me, like, that's one of the things why I'm pushing getting out of body. If you are able to get out of body, you will understand what is going on or what's going to happen after you die, because then you have clear understanding of how it all works and your possibilities, and sort of like having understanding and like being able to get ready for it. So there's that. Okay, here's an interesting question by Emperor. Will being hit in the third by a fire hydrant cause issues with going astral? If if we're talking in the third dimension, probably here physical, you might have been hit with the fire hydrant. It really depends on what has happened after that. Have you experienced some kind of pain? Any kind of emotions? For example, you're hit and like, I can't move, I'm stuck, or like it really hurts and stuff. So one is like what you feel like. Second thing is knocking you out. And after all that, your experience will basically might trigger some past lives. So for example, while you're here on Earth, you might burn yourself accidentally, you might step on something, you might like get hit by a fire hydrant or something else. A lot of these experiences that we might have right here on Earth that is actually hurtful will be able to trigger and help us sort of like recall our past lives. And while we might not get the memories, the commands we get from past life is gonna be here. So for example, being hit in the fire hydrant right now, like depends in which way. But for example, it just like pops and you have this massive water pushing you, right? And so like knocks you out and like the skull, you can't move, like it hurts and stuff, like like stop it, like whatever happens to you is one thing. There's another part, like while you're kind of like knocked out or a bit unconscious, whatever happens in the background, people talking to each other, radios, TVs and stuff, whatever happens around you works like a hypnotic command. So while you might just like, ow, it hurts, and somewhere in the background says, stop it, I can't get out, or like I'm stuck, and these things becomes a hypnotic command, and for you, now it starts playing with I can't get out. And while you might try to get out of body, I can't get out starts playing as a command. So like, really depends what happens in the whole scenario, or let's say things that might be triggered from the past life that say sort of like right now starts playing. If you're able to be aware of those and getting rid of these limits, then you can totally drop the whole limitation stuff and be free of it. So really depends on the whole scenario, but you know, it's not the massive side. It might cause some issues, but it's not permanent. Cronius is saying like, hello Akvile, big fan of you and Reg for years now. I've been watching you guys like since forever. You're like my heroes. Really appreciate it, buddy. Me and Rich were both like really appreciate the support. Like, just keeps us going. Okay, so we have a few. I'm looking at some comments and there's one from Lewis that I don't like. I might not have the full context, but Lewis is saying, "Do you think I do well as I see also energies? I decided to respond eye for an eye and attack and law powerful people who want to rob my life. It's going very far and dangerous. Is it safe? It depends. Are you doing this in the physical or in the astral, and how far are you going, and like the techniques, preventions, and stuff like that? Sometimes." For example, you get out of body and maybe you're able to see energies and stuff and just like fight those being out there, or like while being here physically, you see energies and entities and you fight them as well. That's the thing, you can totally do that. It's just like you have to be aware that like the first engagement, you going for them and stuff, is kind of like declaration of war. So these ETs will know that like this being is ready to fight back, and it's kind of like having a big target on your back 24/7. And it's kind of like there anyway, so if you're fighting back, it's really good. Then you have to be aware of like their possibilities of attacking you and what they can do and how far it can go. But once you know about things like how to protect yourself, what can you do to defend yourself just in case anything harsh happens, it's really good. Until then, you just keep on going, see how far you can take it, and if you can actually see and get some good results. If it's on the physical, and you're trying to mess with like really powerful people, if you're just like removing their entities, like their controllers, go for it. If you're going for something real physical, like targeting the elite, be careful. I can't tell you it's gonna be safe, because we know what happens to all those that are trying to play against them. Vagar is asking, can you check on stream if a human spaceship is using me when I go to sleep? You mentioned that they're doing that on my session, and how can I fight them? So first thing first, once we did the session for you, Vagar, I did remove that stuff, but we're just gonna double check, make sure that stuff isn't affecting you, so definitely. Just gonna focus in on you. We have other group. We have our group messing with you. So, yeah, like, just to give you confirmation, yes, is going on. Like, it's basically sort of like trying to stop your lucidity, and while you might be, like, vivid, like, seeing everything, like, not having full control over everything is part of it, like, where, you know, they try to sort of like redirect you, and also your experience, like when you can do life thing, like be there and like go for something big, they try to redirect your dreams with something more messed up, or let's say all over the place, but not being fully focused on, you know, like for example, you might have a goal and you might have a thing to do, you might find some new information, but that all is being redirected to just like, oh, I was in the forest and I saw this thing, you know, so like kind of like nothing too much of valuable thing. So there's that. How can you fight them? If you sense that there is someone targeting you, whether it is human spaceship or someone else, while sort of keeping in mind, okay, these beings are there, I sort of like feel it, not necessarily knowing who it is, maybe, like some people might not really pick it up, but for example, you have in mind of who is possibly messing you up. So the thing is, your imagination is super powerful. And while you might not fully be able to visualize it, just sort of thinking about it, like, okay, human spaceship, specifically those that are targeting me, trying to mess me up, trying to limit me, you sort of like put a label on them, human spaceship, there's like, and the group that's targeting me. So you think of them, you have a label, and you simply think of whatever kind of spaceship, and think of it blowing up, exploding, taking them out and stuff. That'd be one of the ways, because your imagination, your creativity is super powerful. So while you're doing this thing, it's really happening out there. Like, literally, people can be out of body while you're just imagining things and see the results of, like, actual spaceship exploding out there. So, like, that's a thing. Also, try to create, let's say, the actual shielding, let's say, before you go to sleep, making sure they can't really track you and stuff, and they can't really redirect you. That'd be a thing. Creating a program, for example, before going to bed or throughout the day, if there's any beings that will try to affect my dream states or ability to get out of body, they will be deflected, and every time they try to harm me, your program, if this happens, then this. So if they try to affect you, their spaceship will explode, or they will disappear, they will be unmocked, uncreated and stuff. You can like choose all the stuff for your own purposes and however you want, but that would be something to try out. So these are just some of the possibilities, and I can do definitely like maybe do a checkup session, see what we can find regarding your case, and maybe I'll help you out. Franco has an interesting experience saying, when I was a little kid, I just had the feeling that some were under a sofa. No one were in the room. So when I took a look, then I felt thousands of little fingers that were pushing me away, and they were screaming. This only happens like the ability of, let's say, us being younger, like kids, we have ability to pick them up fully, to have abilities like see them, to hear them. Our perception is not affected by the world yet. Like they haven't built our program that's or limited us that much, so we can totally have our abilities on, and if they don't turn you off, you can totally see more of these things. So like it's an interesting experience. So Franco, have you dealt with these things? Have you had many encounters or something more after that? Actually, the Matrix is asking, what do I do in my sessions? Is it like a psychic reading? It really depends. From each person, sort of like varies. The main focus, person will send me their story, what have they been through, what's gone on in their life, what kind of issues are they facing, any kind of physical pains, beliefs, fears, brain fogs and stuff like that. Like whatever's going on with them, they're gonna tell me their story. After that, once I read it, like while reading email, I start getting flashes of what's going on in your life, maybe your past and stuff. So once it starts working, it's basically I try to give you as much information as possible about what's going on, the entity clusters that might be there, people messing you up, third parties, ETs, aliens, your past lives, what have you done before, your Akashic records, anything I can find that will be valuable regarded to or like related to the items and things you've mentioned in the email. I try to give you as much info as possible. Then I do some cleanup, like revoking agreements, getting rid of the decisions, undoing any work of like the third parties, removing certain beings out of your space, stuff like that. Depends on people. Sometimes they're like, hey, just revoke my agreements, help me to remove my blocks on getting out of body and stuff. So depends on one's needs and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. So, Cosmos United, like, I'm not sure if you're still in the stream, you might be like, I'm still scrolling down the questions. I'm just gonna mention it again, like, write me an email with your story. Whenever you have time and the mood, I'm just like, sort of like, I have an eye on my email list, so sometimes people write me during the stream, and I'm just sort of reminding you, dropping it out there. Okay. The blank mind guy is asking, have you ever seen shadow people? I've heard that people with sleep paralysis see them, and I also saw two of them in my OOBE. They always scared me, and they scared me so much that it gave me massive anxiety. Yeah, I've seen these beings. They have different shapes. Sometimes it's others trying to get out of body and being there. Sometimes it's other beings just like that's their shape, that's their form, that's who they are. There's that as well. Trying to scare you is the right thing to do for the ETs. For example, you might get out of body. You might have abilities to get out. And the thing is, it's like your ability to get out is what scares them. Because once you are out, you can find information, you can learn about things, you can get knowledge, you can recall your past lives, you can find friends and get help and stuff. So you getting out of body is like your pet running away from home. Your experiment is just like, oh shit, it's escaping, catch him and stuff. So basically a lot of like these ETs and stuff, they really try to trap us and make sure we don't get out. If we do, it's like ringing an alarm, this person is dangerous. So a lot of times when people are close to getting out of body and they go through that phase, and first thing like they open their eyes and like some scary ugly thing is right in front of them, it's just to try to keep them within the body. And a lot of these things that happen out there is just like to stop us from getting out, to scare us like, oh shit, I don't want to see that being, so I don't want to get out of body and stuff. Like, so they have ways of trying to stop us and make sure we don't get out of body and stuff. There's that. Some beings are just like looking like that. So like not all shadow people are bad, but it really depends who you meet and how you feel when they are there. If they scare you, there's a few ways to deal with it. Like, for example, you get out of body, you see a shadow person, and like, oh shit, what do I do now? So, a few ways. Like, let's take something easy to do, something to try out. First, like, once you see something that sort of like looks scary, seems kind of like harmful, you can try sending them love emotion. Like, you have to be strong within yourself and sort of like get in this loving state and just give them that. Because, let's say, entities and other beings that look scary are like flies, and let's say while you're here and your vibration is normal and you're not doing anything, if a fly stands, you're not going to move and the fly is going to bother you. If your vibration gets into this kind loving state where you are going high, you're going like this. So for the fly to drop is going to bash it off, and basically the fly cannot be close. Same thing for entities. When your vibration is neutral or kind of lowish, they can get close and see what is up and try to scare you. When you drop them this loving vibration, they're like, oh shit, can get close. And, you know, for example, this forms a shield for them to stop and like keep their limits and stuff. But at the same time, giving them love can literally shapeshift them into little puppies, cats, and whatever you want. So that would be a thing. That's like one of the easier things to try out. Another thing, just simply without giving them love, you can simply focus on like, okay, shadow being. And if you have seen Harry Potter, I think the third movie, they have this thing with magic of a wardrobe where their biggest fear comes out and they have to use a spell to turn their biggest fear into something funny. So while your fear or something that scares you might be the shadow person, you have to turn it into something that's going to make you laugh or something's going to make you feel good. So turning them into a bus, into a pumpkin, into a watermelon or something, that would be something like, hey, this massive entity just turned into a little pencil and just, oops, fell through space and stuff. So like, various like lots of variations. Another thing you can try to do, like for example, you're seeing this entity, like, okay, now what? So without sending them love and like trying to shapeshift them, you can try talking to them. A lot of like times they're like fully conscious and they can engage. So you can find out their purposes, like, you know, like what do they want from you? What are their intentions? Do they want to harm you, or they're like just there like watching you? And remember that you are always a superior being because of your imagination and creativity. No one can stop you. So like you have all the powers to stop them if anything happens. And while they're talking, you can like give them commands of like answer, like say truth and like stuff like that, and basically don't get close. So you can basically make sure like you keep the limit, they can't get close to you, they can't scare you and stuff. There's that. You can always, let's say, create a place or just imagine a box or something and take that being and put them into a different realm, put them into a box. All while they're there in the room, you simply teleport. You simply think of a place, put your attention there, and boom, you teleport, and now you are just out there like, no more, and now you're safe. So those will be a few of the ways you can try out to sort of deal with them if they sort of like appear again. But yeah, hopefully this is gonna help. Okay, so Americ is asking, what would you suggest to people who have warrior-like mentality when astral traveling? If confronted or threatened, should they engage to combat, or is there a way to assert your personal power without resorting to anger? Or is anger a good energy as long as it's constructive versus destructive? Yeah, just because you're feeling angry, just because you're feeling pissed off and hateful doesn't mean that it's really bad. Having these emotions and having control over them is really good. So just because, like, let's say even in this life you feel something, don't judge yourself. You have righteous emotions, you have righteous ways. Just like, okay, I feel this way. Good for you. Break. So next thing. Out there, if you have situations that threaten your life, that actually can really harm you and you want to escape, fight. make sure, like, no one can harm you, and like don't give up, and like don't let anyone to trap you and stuff like that. Other times, if it's, it pisses you off, but you still might feel like, okay, well, maybe we can still reach something. Sometimes, how in some movies, games, anime, we have our awesome hero who's being really kind, finishes, like, gives that, like, final blow. Good, I saved the day, and the bad guy races up, and like the hero was too slow explaining their like final technique, and the bad guy beats them up, and you're like, haha, you are too slow and too kind and stuff, like, died there and stuff. So like it's an often scenario where we're like being too kind and considerate, and they try to get the final blow. That's all happens. So like basically, it's more like look what's best for you out there. Even though you can be considerate, depending on situations, it is your call of what you want to do. You can totally try to sort of like feel their intention. Are they actually there to target you and destroy you and stuff like that? Or are they actually hurt and they have some assumptions about you and they want to attack you? I have met races of, let's say, reptilians who have been, let's say, they live a peaceful life. They have their own planet. They're like, okay, they're enjoying their own stuff, not going after anyone else. They just like, okay, that's our life. We're just like really into intelligence, into creating things, and like basically building spaceships and stuff. And they just love that stuff. It's like kids playing Lego. They just love building things. So now their world is being attacked by humans. Humans come and one after another starts killing off reptilians, taking off their technologies and stuff like that. A specific reptilian group that has never done anything bad is now attacked by humans. And that happens from generation to generation enough for these reptilians to go, humans are bad. They're attacking us. And basically these guys turn into, if I see a human, I'm gonna kill them because I'm gonna be in danger. So if you meet a person with some sort of intention and you can sort of like pick up like, hey, why are you doing this? What's up? And if you can sort of get deep within their system, like we are same here, like we are kind of like hurt kids, like we go to stuff and we act on the way because we're hurt. We have experienced stuff in life that like right now we might try to get a new relationship, we might get a new thing, and we're acting differently because of what we have been through in this life. And if a person is like, hey, tell me your story, what is up? And you're able to share like, oh, well, I've been beaten and I've been betrayed and everyone's ignoring me and da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, wow, all you need is a hug, let me love you and stuff. And you all of a sudden, if you're able to hear out the being out there and hear their story, you can decide like, okay, they were just hurt and they felt like attacking me because they felt vulnerable. And you're able to be there, listen up, and see what you can do. And without like getting into aggression and attacking, you can say like, okay, you were hurt, I can help you out, and you fix the person, you fix the being, and all of a sudden they can share the message to the whole civilization that, hey, they're not bad after all. And like things might change. So like you can do a whole lot. Really depends on the intentions of others, what kind of situation you're confronted with, and the story behind it. Like for me, I'm always interested like what's behind the being, what is the reason for doing certain things. I love learning, but there are also times when, they just like go crazy and try to kill us without any reason. So really depends on the situation and what you want to do about it. Sacred Ganja is saying that he sent me an email. I'm just gonna check if I got it. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, I got it. I'm just gonna mark it up and make sure I get back to you. Thanks for reminding me, Sacred Ganja. You're good. Okay, Ascension Mystery is asking, why did the good guys allow all this evil to happen on Earth for all the other beings in helping this world? yeah, like out there, while we're here, we're like, hey, no one's helping us. Like, fuck you, kind of feels bad and stuff. But there's actually this massive space opera going on. Good guys versus bad guys. They're shooting it out, duking it out every day. They're trying to help us out, and they get stopped. It's just like massive war, and there's a lot of this like time war like going on where the good guys will change the timelines and try to change some events and basically make sure like there are no wars or like other things, and like switch it up to better side, and the bad guys will always come back. So like we might see some like Mandela effect going on because it's a constant everyday fight for them, and it shifts our reality as well. That happens like it's a lot, like depends on how you look at it. There's a lot of fights going on. There's a lot of like good guys trying to help us out, but they too are in the middle of the war. So it's like, imagine trying to, like, your kid is crying, right? But you just got into the car accident, or like, you just got into this massive fight with let's say husband or mother, and you're trying to solve the thing while the kid is crying. Like, kid, like, shut up, I have more important thing to do right now. So like, while the big guys are duking it out there and we're like crying like, yeah, help us out, like they have to solve their stuff first before they have to come and help here. So it's a lot of that stuff. Yeah, like people are saying like, seems like the good forces are weak or something. Just imagine that like right here, right now on Earth, the good guys, us, kind of like, we try to fight back and like the elite is bad, they're like suppressing us, and we have taxation is theft, stuff like that, like a lot of this like stuff, and we're trying to fight by sharing the truth and talking about it, hardly taking actions, maybe like peaceful protests and stuff like that, right? Now take it a few billion years more advanced, where they have spaceships and they're duking it out every day. They have their own stuff going. To say that like they're weak, the bad guys that took control and have it over, they have it good. They're pretty strong. So, I don't know. To call the other ones weak, it's like the main hero of the show is too weak to shoot the enemy. Like, I'm just like you're gonna hold the gun and you're like basically pointing it at the enemy, and you're like gonna be the hero of the show, and like, I'm gonna leave you alive because I'm the good guy. These guys can leave those alive and like, okay, we're the good guys. We're gonna leave you alive. We're just gonna go on the planet and help our people. They're like, fuck you, and they destroy the whole spaceship because they're being good. So like, what we see in these like shows and everywhere all around us, what the good guys all like is and like the standards and stuff doesn't change, So silly, naive, just trying their own stuff. It does happen. There's a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, I don't know. Too much. It does seem like, like we're going through so much and there's zero help. Seems like it. But we also have those that are showing up on Earth and like nuking underground bases. That happens as well. And like we have beings go into these underground cities and just like take them all out. It does happen. So I don't know. Like it's more like having no ability, for majority doesn't have an ability to check it out, to see the bigger picture. And while we're here, it all seems like, we guys, like, the good guys are weak and they can't do shit. And, if we had ability to actually see the truth, that would be great. But, even right now, the social media is being fully controlled and pushed into the side that the mainstream people want us to believe and look at. So we hear nothing about, like, the real stories of what's going on. So if anyone actually has an insight, then we have a really hard time reaching out for the majority of people. Vagor is asking, have I ever played Detroit Become Human? It's really interesting. I've tried it out a while ago by myself, like not really streaming and stuff. But it's definitely worth playing. It has some aspects that's like worth addressing and thinking about, and like sort of like consider like, hey, like a lot of this stuff is happening that's programming people to accept transhumanism, to accept AI, and think that everything's gonna be okay. We have a lot of like TV shows and movies, like let's say. I haven't watched Westworld, but I've heard that they're basically creating synthetic people, and they have emotional and still like emotions that like are really all about like just like, hey, I want to be sentient and I want to think and I want to love and stuff. Like, no, you're artificial. And they're pushing a lot of these scenarios where a robot becomes, or like, let's say, android has feelings and like synthetic people has feelings, and now the whole programming into be empathic, be sympathetic and feel for them and accept them, and they want to have this too and stuff like that. And then we see Sophia here on Earth, AI and stuff like, yay. What's the first thing she says? I want to destroy humanity. Kind of like I want to destroy the world and stuff. And then she wants to marry a fucking D-Wave. And then what you gonna do? So it's like they're pushing these agendas to make us accept these things, like make it look normal. Kind of like all the Marvel killing off the good guys and stuff. Like we have our great hero, someone we really love and care about, like Iron Man. Spoiler alert! Like it's killed off and stuff. Like you have your favorite hero dies because a fucking Hollywood decided so. A fucking like company like, hey, people love that guy. People love Arthur Morgan. People love our guys like from these shows. So let's kill them off because they're gonna get all emotional. And then you have this massive loss. Like why do you kill good guys? And it's all programming that like accept synthetic people. All the good guys die and stuff like that. And basically, a lot of it's like programming, just trying to make it new normal. Like fuck you, COVID and the whole thing like with isolating yourself in is a new normal. Fuck you too. Like it's like trying to control people with to show what they want us to see and try to make us think that this is the way it is. Bullshit. Sage is asking, any thoughts about the chakra energy centers on the body, like root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown chakra, etc.? Are these energy centers used to control us or our emotions, etc.? So here's the thing, like regarding chakras. The whole thing with root, sacral, and all the stuff where they point out we have the colors and we have the thing, is more of a back in the day, is to help people visualize a specific point and abilities and what it can do. It's for simple understanding. But then we make it a cult, like this chakra has this color and it's like has this kind of purpose. It's kind of like controlling people where they're gonna go and what's gonna happen. Because if a person has ability to sort of like see energy, or let's see auras and pick it up, once you focus on the person, you will see energy centers. It does not have a color. It does not have specific meaning. It's like, you have more energy centers, but it does not control your life. And so like these things, like with color and the meaning and stuff, is more like a made up by some people who are writing, like explaining chakras, that hey, this is for visualization, this is for a better understanding. This is not the thing, this is not the like really like the orange or the red thing, and this is how they affect us. It's basically simply understand the concept. Don't think it is the thing. Just simply visualize it. So people go with visualizing it, and sort of like, if you look at the whole, the origins of where the whole chakras comes from, explanations and stuff, you find that the whole thing is just like, hey, it is the energy point that you can use, but it does not have the specific color and the specific thing, and it like works like this. And a lot of people go with the beliefs of how it was sort of like mistranslated and misexplained, and now we have this kind of understanding. So for me, I personally, I'm not going for specific colors and this is how it works. It's more like the energy center, and depending on how we work with it, we can have some benefits, but it's definitely not a thing. So, the rest is what happens with your own beliefs and how has it affected you and stuff like that. So, yeah. Vagrant is asking, where do I appear when I get out of body? It's more of a variation. I sometimes have default settings to appear on some of the spaces that I work in. I have some groups where, when I was about 2014, 2012, I don't know. There was a time when, like one of my first kind of wake ups where I I go out, like, I was in my cottage house, like, at my grandparents', and in the middle of the night, I go out, and there's, like, these lights, like, it's a village, completely away from town, like, no people out there, all the lights are off, it's completely quiet. Basically, similar time like this is where, like, it's super foggy, or, like, it's super cloudy. You know, you can't see anything in the clouds except like these like lights on, and I'm like, okay. But then you look down, and one light is basically 25 centimeters, like 25 meters long. So like literally one light can cover up the whole pond I have at like my cottage house. And there's like 5 of these lights all over the place, going like just sort of like as if like scanning and stuff, and then they get together and they keep scanning, and that thing like continued for like 30 minutes, like going all over the grounds, like all over the bushes and stuff, and just kept scanning and scanning and scanning, and I was like, wow, what a sight! Like, not a single sound, no drones back then. Planes would not stop and just like, you know, like go through all this stuff. So it's like more for me, like it was like, wow, like experiencing something finally paranormal that I really wanted to see with the like when I was a kid. And you know, like all these lights, like, I was like, cool. So I was sort of like watching this for like about like half an hour. I go to sleep, and I wake up and I'm in a spaceship. And I'm like, hi, Akvile, we were waiting for you. And I have humans. This is a massive spaceship, and I was like in the lounge, and like basically the captain of the ship say like, hey, you know, we've been looking for you. Like, so basically, I was sort of like on the board talking with a lot of people, and you know, since then, every time I got out of body, they would show me around, and basically I became part of this like, whole thing, going out of body and doing different missions and stuff. So that sort of continued for a while, for about a few months, and then you know, like I was sort of like, okay, got enough experience, gonna do my own thing now. And so basically, they sort of like got me ready. They helped me to fight. They helped me to get information. I saw my sort of like another aspect of me, kind of like my sister and stuff. That was like amazing. I actually had Rich, if you know Rich 2150X, he basically was doing this OOBE guided thing, and basically my sister on the spaceship got in trouble. So we had the whole OOBE group sort of like joining us, and we were together sort of looking for my sister, like the whole group of people going on a mission to find my sister. And we were actually able to sort of like, hey, I do something, let's say, physical body's here, I'm not fully out of body, but sort of like a meditative state, and while I'm focusing on sort of like looking for things and I get some visuals, I sort of like try to like, okay, with physical body I have intention, wave at someone, and they're like, hi to you too, and they say like, hey, Akvile is waving at me. So my thoughts, what I wanted to, I don't have a physical sister, no, it's in the Astral, on the spaceship, there, not here. I have a brother though, yeah, so that being said, basically, back on the whole story, all the people in the group were here in the physical world, connected on a platform like OOBE. They're all calling with each other, they're talking up, and basically Rich is the one giving a command. All the people are going with the story and basically looking for her, and sort of like whatever the person does out there, anyone of the group, I can pick up and basically see what that person is doing. If I sort of think like, I'm here, and I think of an action, what if the person walk there, do that? That person in the newbie will fully see me and will be able to describe what I'm doing. So every person in the group is picking up my actions. So basically everyone's connected. And so we went on missions, we did all kinds of stuff out there. So it's amazing. So the whole thing with group of people getting out of body, doing something together, possible. I've did that. There's a lot of people doing this as well. So yeah, and since then, you know, when do I appear when I get out of body? Since then, since I've learned a lot, and like I was able to sort of like get comfortable with my skills, now my major like goal is to go on planets that are being attacked, and let's say I'm just like trying to save people. I'm just trying to make sure they're safe, they're not kidnapped, they're not like suffering too much, just sort of like recreating things. If a planet has gone through too much stuff, I'm basically reversing back time where everything's back to normal and people can live there normally. So there's that, and like, yeah, so depending, and now like since that's my default, sometimes let's say my physical body here and I'm active, but someone in the multiverse will ask for help, and I kind of have this like, you know how policemen or let's say taxi drivers will have this radio and they hear out calls. So kind of like in the system, in the subconscious, like I'm not even thinking about it, but it registers. And so like I have missions or quests to do. So my physical body falls asleep and I just like wake up in one of those worlds where I have a quest to do and I'm helping out people. And so like one after another, I wake up and I'm doing various things. So like it's a big variation of where I sort of appear when I get out of body, but my default place would be either the spaceship when I was like 14 or 15 when that thing happened, or my own reality. So So yeah, that's a big story. That's a big story. I sort of wish back then I had a camera or something with me to capture the thing. It's amazing to be in the cottage house and to see like massive ground covered with flies. They're massive. Like let's see, 2 feet. It's about like 82 feet, like length. So basically, one light covers this massive part, like 82 feet. It's 5 of them running around the ground, coming together, going apart. It's just amazing, not a single sound. And I don't know, like, couldn't explain it as a kid, this like, but like getting out there and actually ending up in a spaceship, awesome. So there, that's the story. Okay, Exit the Matrix is asking, Akvile, your friends that you pulled out of their bodies, are they normal? And if so, how did they come about this? So yeah, they're completely normal. They're not like, they don't really have the abilities like me. They do have them, they're just not aware of them and not really working with them. That would be the better way to say it. But more like the people, it's like there's a few girls. We lived pretty close. And I had the intention to sort of like get her out, like just find her in the OOBE and stuff. And basically, I had my experience, she had her experience. And like we go to school together, so we sort of meet up in the middle and go together. And she's like, "Hey, Akvile, I had this awesome dream," and just basically telling me all the details. And I'm like, "Yep, saw that, did that with her, yep, had a conversation." And she's like, "Wow." And I'm like, I stop her in the middle, and then this happened, and I throw her, and she's like, "What? You had this too? What the fuck?" And she's all surprised because I told her the other part of OOBE that we had, she thought was a dream. She basically couldn't tell the difference back then. And she was like completely blasted that it happened. It's like, can we do this again? Can we do this again? Like, could we invite this person and this person and stuff? So she really got all hyped up, and that's like amazing. That's actually seeing normal people react to it, and how they can actually have the whole freedom to engage and do what they want there, and seeing them like really be happy about it. It's such a blast. I really love this thing. Alright, so I'm sort of like still scrolling down through the chat. It's amazing because we have a whole lot of people here writing, and I'm still sort of like somewhere in the middle. And I have a whole lot of to catch up to. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, Kelly Tapero has an interesting question, saying, don't our higher selves have the basic information of other realms and such, and so why do we physically, as humans, have to understand this in order to utilize the knowledge after we die? Basically, think what would happen if, like, right now on Earth, you have one body and you know a lot, you've been through a lot in this life, and what would happen if you could actually split into different aspects, like one of your parts goes to your job, does your thing, you don't have to go there anymore, one part cleans the house and does other things, one part does the shopping and stuff, this part will learn how to play piano, this part will do this, finally I can lay down on couch and like, just relax. And so you have other parts of you running around doing the thing. So now you have other parts of you running around doing your thing. But each part, since they have a new goal or new mission, will start specializing in that thing. How to act in that specific work, how to talk to a specific person, how to talk to, like, okay, your friend is going on a date, or like, let's say, to talk with your friends, and, you know, you don't want to go there, but it would be a good socializing thing, so another aspect of you, like, okay, just go there and do my thing, talk to those friends. And now, every day, for a few years, for like a while, that aspect will only do that thing. So while you're here, you basically pick up on everything they're doing, but they're not. They have their own thing. I'm gonna work and do my job. I'm gonna sit in the office, I'm gonna sell stuff or whatever. And that job doesn't live with the whole playing piano part, cleaning up the house or anything else. cleaning up the house part doesn't playing at work or meeting your friends, and they don't have the knowledge. So when you split into the other aspects, they might have specific goals or missions and things to do, but it doesn't mean that they will specifically pick up on everything else the other parts is doing. So you as the massive like computer house, you're basically telling other aspects what to do, and you can pick it up. That's your higher self, so to speak. And the other part of you, I'm gonna go to Earth. Or like, that's been like, that other part is like sort of like busy doing something and BAM! Whacked, and you end up being forced born on Earth. And you're like, why the fuck am I here and why is my higher aspect not helping me? Just busy with other stuff, completely forgot about you because there's few freaking billion aspects of you anyway, so you? Who are you? Kinda like that aspect is just too busy, so as humans, we are other aspects. We split off of that thing, and we don't live that experience. And then, if we go through stuff that is limiting our awareness, suppresses our memories after, like, sort of like reincarnate. So, like, before you experience anything, it just doesn't come to you anymore. You don't remember your past lives, and like, oh shit, like, why can't I just recall that? So you've been messed with, and you're stuck sort of here. So other parts of you don't really might not really know about you, or like might know, and like, hey, they have their own lives, they have their own missions to do. So there's that, like, there's a lot of these things, like, or variations of about higher selves and us being here and why you might not be getting help. So, yeah. I'm not sure if I answered this question to Starseed, like you were asking the third Pokemon shirt I have. I think it's a gray one, like, I haven't, like, worn it yet on stream. It's still kind of new. So yeah, just has Pikachu on it. Okay. The Blank Mind guy is asking, I'm suicidal since I was a little kid. I've never acted on the thoughts, but really don't know where it comes from. Do you have an explanation for stuff like that? Yeah. Yeah, pretty much like with these thoughts, a lot of times there are third parties, entities, people around us. Then we have other governments and stuff that they have technology to sort of like beam thoughts and stuff. I've mentioned this before, but basically American government was, since 1974, they already mastered projecting thoughts into our head, like making us work like radios, picking up thoughts, picking up emotions, having certain urges and stuff, moving our body, causing orgasms and other things. They could do it in 1974. 50 years past, kind of like. So they have advanced, and whatever they do with a whole suppression or how people feel throughout the day, it's just one thing. But let's not touch the government. Let's look at the other aspects of, let's say, entities. It's just kind of like, let's say, like a whole cloud around you, right? It's like every day here. And these clusters of entities have their own emotions. This cluster of entity might have like 1,000, 20,000, million, doesn't matter how many there are. They're kind of like nano-sized, so it's like, you know, like kind of like invisible and stuff. But basically, right here, while they're like forming up a whole cloud with other clusters, this one might feel aggravated, this one might feel disappointed, failure, can't do anything, I'm stuck. And like a lot of these clusters will have certain emotions and personalities and feeling states, but this is their own thing. And when they surround you, you're walking in this massive cloud of entities with their own emotions and stuff, and whatever they feel, whatever they think, and whatever like they're going through, you're the one picking it up because you're intuitive, and so you pick up on their thinking that it's you feeling that way, thinking that it's you thinking that stuff. And a lot of that, if you can clear it up, you're gonna like sort of like, hey, where do those thoughts go from? So like you can actually notice that like by removing certain entity clusters, you will sort of like stop having certain personalities. And that's also a thing to look at. Another part, let's say in life, there might be accidents where I don't know, like various things can happen, specific people saying specific phrases, triggering you, maybe you hurt yourself in a way. So a lot of these things can happen, and basically that sort of like helps you to recall your past life. But while you might not remember the details, your body will remember. Your body will pick up on, when this happened, when this person said this thing, my whole life disappeared. Like I just don't want to live anymore, I lost everything. So small incidents in the physical world can actually trigger traumas from the past life and make it present. So now you're starting to feel various emotions and other things that will overwhelm you. And that is also a thing. So there's a lot of reasons why we're feeling such ways. It's just like, oh, my body's that way. Like, like doing detox and other things, like really taking care of your physical state is one thing, but there's a whole lot more than that. So, it's always like peeling onion layers. You will find something more, something deeper, and, it's a lot of work to fix ourselves. So I'm sort of scrolling to the chat again, just checking out the questions and what people are saying. I'm still, just right now, I've gone past to the time where JB7 left a donation, a massive one too. So I'm still somewhere in the middle, and I have a lot to catch up to. Wow, okay. Meredith is saying that, heck, Villa, you removed the structure in my latest deep scan, and now people in my town are having more memory recall and energetic awareness. Thank you. It makes me so happy. It makes me so happy because it's not just like you're the one who's feeling better, but a lot of other people are picking up wins, and it's massive. There's a whole lot of structures out there in the multiverse affecting the whole humanity, and like one thing I wanted to do is go back to the Andromeda station, where there's like a whole crystal place. They have tons of these things that sort of like are programs of controlling other planets and stuff, and like it's like infinite place. Floor after floor after floor, you can go miles and miles and miles, and this like little stand with a crystal that programs like inability to get out of the body, relationship issues, like unawareness and stuff, and you pick up one thing and you find just tons of structures. I want to go back and spend my free time just sort of like taking care of these things, but just knowing that some of the things I find in session actually help you and like people around you to actually wake up. I don't know, it's like, wow. Makes me super happy. And like I just like I don't know, it inspires me to do more. So like really thank you for sharing this win. It's like appreciate it. Okay, yeah, finally sort of like going through the comments and getting closer to the bottom. Not really, but a bit closer than I was before. Seth is asking, I've sort of like just dropped at the bottom just to check it out. Seth is asking, are you worried about the government military talking you up for giving out this information? And do you have to hold some of it back sometimes? No, I try to go all in. It's like, deep within, when I was a kid, I was afraid of darkness and other things, and it would scare me, and I was like sort of like a weakling, There's a lot of things that would scare me, and like spires, darkness, other people. I was able to build up myself to the point where I know that I sort of can't be harmed. I'm programming myself where I'm untouchable, and that's also what like David Icke is saying, like he cannot be harmed. And so, for example, like going out in town, I would escort my friend, the same one that would had that OOBE experience with me, and I would just escort her from my house to her house. It could be 1 a.m., 3 a.m. And you're going, and you see like these gangs of like guys, like not really a gang or something. It's just like 5 guys, and they're more like Gopnik culture, if you know it in the Eastern stuff. But like basically, Nike is just always like wearing 3 stripes and stuff. Like I'll have like a fucking Beamer, and they all have like this mindset of drinking and like cussing and stuff like that. So like they have their own stuff, right? And so I would like walk, and like I know that like all around myself I form a shield, and I'm untouchable. Like no one can harm me, and I would walk with my head up high, and like just basically program myself with like can't touch me. I'm completely safe. And like so basically walking around feeling like there's actually someone watching after me, so someone like who will protect me and stuff. Just walking with this complete freedom of like I'm not gonna care about all these worries, and I'm just gonna focus on my stuff and not gonna worry about any of this. So like that would sort of like help me, and I don't know. Like, I haven't noticed that there's any third like parties trying to mess me up or follow me and stuff. And until something super crucial and bad happened, where my family's not being threatened and stuff, I'm all out. You know. But if anyone goes after someone I love, that would be like, have to think about shit. You know. But until now, like no, like I'm actually not worried right now. So there's that. So I'm sort of like scrolling through the questions, and once again, it's been like almost 3 hours, and it's kind of like 11:41 for me. Uh, so yeah, I might sort of like switch it up and start wrapping it up. But yeah, I'm sort of like still looking if there's anything I can sort of like touch on fast, but I might wrap it up and go out and just sort of wrap it up. Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a lot to talk about. I'm just gonna sort of like save the chat just in case, and you probably talked about a lot of things, but then again, people like I really appreciate you all engaging, being here with me, talking to me, asking all these questions. So I'm gonna wrap it up for now. Take some time off for myself and do other things. Just sort of like copying the chat. It's a weird thing because like YouTube doesn't show the replay of the chat. So if you talk about various topics and stuff, I can't get it after the stream. Like I can't get the questions, which is why I wanted to embed the chat within the stream. Like so now we see you and all. But yeah, thank you all for asking all these questions, being here with me, engaging, and all the support and love and all. It's amazing, it's crazy, and yeah. So I'm gonna wrap it up for today, do more sessions tomorrow, and we'll see what happens then. So people, feel free to think up of more questions for other things for upcoming streams. We might stream tomorrow, we'll see, not sure yet. But I really appreciate you having all these questions and engaging. If you have anything you want to say, if you want to share your story, if you need any help, write me an email. Write me an email of your own stuff. If you want a quick scan or something, let me know. Just like send me an email, like villasav@yahoo.com. You can actually look at the description. You'll see all my social media stuff. So reach out if you need help. Reach out if you want to share your stories. Reach out if you want to just talk it out. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to help you out if I can. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.